Chapter 976. Read 336. Did you guys go to the Alchemist Guild just now? Han Miao Shuang asked. Pill subdivision. But those people from the guild were there too. Wei Jing said. What did they do to make you so angry? Sima Yue asked. Those bastards told us to go out of the city tomorrow. Mao Sanquan said, they didn't find out the reason, so they asked us to go. How despicable! Is it dangerous outside? None of the people who went out these 2 times came back. Don't you think it's dangerous? Mao Sanquan snorted. But didn't they say that none of the people who went out this time came back? Su Xiaoxiao recalled what he heard when he first came and said in surprise. That's just to calm the hearts of the people in the city. Mao Sanquan said, if they know that the situation has become so serious, I don't know what kind of chaos will occur. That's fake news? Han Miao Shuang and the others realized the seriousness of the situation. If it had reached this stage, it meant that the situation was very bad. And under this situation, they still asked the academy who didn't know anything to go out and investigate. Wasn't this asking them to die? Instructor Mao, did you guys dig up other people's ancestral graves? Little Seven asked. What ancestral graves? If you didn't dig up other people's ancestral graves, why are they targeting the academy? Those people have evil intentions and are arrogant beyond measure. It's just because we didn't bow down to them that they are targeting us. Mao Sanquan said in disdain. This pill subdivision isn't anything good. Why are you guys still staying here? Sima Yue didn't understand. Not everyone in the pill subdivision is like that. The subdivision master is still okay. It's just that he and the president of the pill subdivision master aren't here during this period of time, so those rascals got what they wanted. Wei Jing explained. The president and the subdivision master aren't here at this time? Not only are they not here, but they're probably dead. Mao Sanquan said with a hint of worry in his eyes. But Mao Sanquan sighed and said, they went out to investigate the situation and haven't come back. We can't contact them. So those who know the situation is thinking that they've been killed. Some people with ulterior motives are already getting restless. That's why people like you who are on the side of the president and the leader have become a thorn in their side. They want to get rid of you as soon as possible. Sima Yue said. Mao Sanquan glanced at her and nodded. No wonder they asked us to investigate. Sima Yue said, this is the best way to get rid of you. What the F***ck, those old farts still want to kill us. Han Miao Shuang cursed, causing Mao Sanquan and Wei Jing to look askance. His eyes were blatantly saying, girls, be more elegant. Are we going out tomorrow? Su Xiaoxiao asked. Go. If we don't go, we will be removed from the Alchemist Guild and the Dan Alliance. Mao Sanquan said, this way, it will be even more in line with the wishes of those people. But I can go with a few teachers. You guys wait here for us to come back. We want to go too. Han Miao Shuang said, although we're not very strong, we learned a lot of uncommon things from our masters. Since they can't find out the reason, it might be because it's too remote and ordinary people don't know about it. It might be useful for us to go. Mao Sanquan thought about how Su Jin sometimes did strange things and nodded. That's good too. Then you guys get ready. We'll go out tomorrow morning. Don't tell the other students in case they get distracted. Alright, you guys have a good rest. We'll go back first. Mao Sanquan stood up. The 3 of you have ways to protect your lives. Be careful tomorrow. If it's too chaotic, we might not be able to protect you. We know. Mao Sanquan and the others left. Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiaoxiao went back too. Sima Yue thought for a while, called out some scarlet bees and released them. Don't let me see those old guys, or else. Little Seven wanted to say don't let her see them, or else she would beat them up. But when she saw Sima Yue looking at her, she swallowed the rest of her words. She didn't have a good impression of the Alchemist Guild. A Luo Ming and some vice president made them take risks. The entire guild was not good people. The bees are all out. If there's really something between the Alchemist Guild and the Pill subdivision, we'll be able to understand the situation in time. Sima Yue said. After thinking for a while, she released some scarlet bees and asked them to go out of the city to check out the situation. Those people weren't willing to tell them the information and asked them to go out to check. They could only go and check out the situation first. On the morning of the second day, Mao Sanquan brought them to the city gate. They thought that only a few of them would go out. They didn't expect that when they reached the city gate, there were already many people waiting there. They should be the people who went with them this time. A man with a mustache saw Mao Sanquan and the others and pulled a long face. "Why are you guys so late? Can't you see that everyone is here? What's the meaning of this? You don't want to go, or are you trying to drag everyone down?" Mao Sanquan glanced at him faintly and said, "We came according to the time set yesterday. There's still 10 minutes to the agreed time. What are you blindly talking about?" Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang couldn't help but laugh when they saw Mao Sanquan like this. "What are you laughing at? Let's see if you can still come back smiling." The mustache man saw Sima Yue and the others laughing and scolded angrily. "Don't worry, I'll definitely come back smiling." Han Miao Shuang said with a smile, "I just don't know if you can see it." Such a sharp tongue at such a young age. The mustache man said. He made a mental note to Heavenly Sect. He secretly thought that when they went there, he would definitely send them to the most dangerous place. "Since everyone's here, let's go." They got on the flying beasts that were waiting at the side. These flying beasts were the lowest grade in the guild. They were slow and weak. It seemed like the others here were like them. They had no choice but to go. The flying beasts flew them for close to a day before they arrived at a mountain peak. "After crossing these mountains, we'll reach that area." The mustache man said, "You guys just came here a few days ago. You're not familiar with this place. I'll give you a simple description. Forget it. What you said is nonsense. It's as good as not saying anything." Mao Sanquan said, "Why don't we explore it ourselves?" "You said it yourself. Then you guys go by yourselves. I won't accompany you. I hope you guys can come back alive." The mustache man finished speaking and brought the guild's flying beasts back. Chapter 977. Did he really go back just like that? Han Miao Shuang watched as the flying beast flew further and further away. She blinked her eyes in disbelief. Wasn't this person here to lead them? How could he go back so confidently? "You'll get used to it," a middle-aged man said. "The people of the Alchemist Guild have always been like this. The people who came before didn't return. It's already very surprising that this person could bring us here." Another woman said. "So arrogant?" Sima Yue frowned. She felt that the Alchemist Guild of this continent was too arrogant. "Sigh, not everyone is like that, but those who are better are all suppressed by these people. Those who have real power are all like this. Over time, the whole union has become a mess." "Didn't you say that the guild leader is a decent person? Why would he tolerate such a situation? The president is obsessed with alchemy and rarely manages the union's affairs. Now, the vice president, Song Changjie, is in charge of everything. That Song Changjie is not a good person." "What about the Alchemy Guild? The guild master of the Alchemy Guild and the president of the Alchemy Guild share the same interests. However, because the two of them were rare 11th grade alchemists, their status was noble, and those people could not directly seize their rights. Otherwise, I'm afraid that the position of president would have changed long ago." "An 11th grade alchemist. So powerful. Sigh, I heard that they didn't go back after coming here. No one can contact them. I hope we can find them this time. Otherwise, I'm afraid we won't be able to go back." The woman who spoke before said. "Can't go back?" But Little Seven didn't understand. Although those people didn't know why Mao Sanquan would let a child come along, they still patiently answered her questions. "Song Changjie asked us to come here so that we could die. If we're lucky enough to survive, they won't let us go back alive. As long as we die outside, they can tell the world that we died in an accident." "You mean that if we don't die, they will come to kill us?" Seven looked at Mao Sanquan and asked. "Most likely," Mao Sanquan said. **CK, why is that person so bad?" Little Seven exclaimed. "What a bully!" Little Seven wanted to roll up her sleeves, but when she saw Sima Yue looking at her, she reluctantly put down her half-rolled-up sleeves. Sima Yue frowned. She did not expect the situation to become so serious. We just arrived here the day before yesterday, so we don't know anything about the situation here. Now that that person has left, how are we going to start investigating? Someone asked. This is indeed a difficult problem. Instructor Mao, your academy has always been well informed. Do you know what happened here? Mao Sanquan spread out his hands. We don't know anything either. Then you said you didn't want him to tell us the news? Someone reproached him. If not for him, the people from the Alchemist Guild would have told them some news. Now that that person had left, he said that he didn't know anything? Yeah. Mao Sanquan said, although I don't have any news, I know that what he told us is definitely not what we want. If you follow the news he gave you, you might not be able to come out alive. Everyone thought about it and agreed. The people from the Alchemist Guild wanted them to die as soon as possible. How could they give them accurate news? Then what do we do now? What else can we do? Investigate. But the people from the Alchemist Guild and the Alchemist Guild haven't found anything after investigating for so long. How can we investigate? That's right. Moreover, none of the people who came to investigate recently returned. If we investigate, won't it be dangerous? Probably not. I think that those who didn't return might not have died here. Most of them were killed by someone. Wei Jing guessed. This made sense. If the people who came these 2 times did not support Song Changjie, like them, it was very likely that they were killed by someone else. If that was the case, it meant that the situation here was not as bad as it seemed. They were all smart people. After being reminded like this, they all understood the crux of the matter. Then let's split up and investigate. Someone suggested, this place is so big. If everyone stays together, we don't know when we will find any useful information. If we are too scattered, we might encounter danger. So I suggest that we split into 2 or 3 groups. This suggestion is not bad. We have a total of 8 forces. Let's split into 3 groups. Because Mao Sanquan's group had the least number of people, no one was willing to go with them. In the end, there was a group that reluctantly agreed. We are from the Sea Star Palace. I am Vice Palace Master Zhang Fei. The woman who spoke before introduced herself. Palace Master Zhang. Nice to meet you. Mao Sanquan greeted him in a lukewarm manner. I am the teacher in charge of this alchemy competition, Wei Zheng. These 4 are students from the academy. Wei Zheng saw that Mao Sanquan did not pay much attention to Zhang Fei and stepped forward. Most of the people from the Sea Star Palace were women and their strength was lower than the other forces. Therefore, they had to be arranged with the people from the Heavenly Sect. Since we already know each other, let's discuss how to investigate. Zhang Fei said, those people, relying on their strength, chose a safer area and let us go to the most dangerous place. Zhang Fei's disciple Zhang Meng said bitterly. Although they did not understand clearly, but they had heard some general information. At least everyone knew which area was the most dangerous. When choosing the scope of their investigation, the 2 teams chose a safer route, allowing Mao Sanquan and the others to investigate another route. The first choice is not necessarily the safest. Sima Yue said. Yue, what did you find? Mao Sanquan asked. Some news. Sima Yue said, at least we know which area has the most powerful spirit beasts. How do you know? Have you come here to investigate before? Zhang Meng looked young and had a lively personality. She liked to talk to people. Seeing that Sima Yue was so confident, she asked curiously. Sima Yue looked at the girl whose face was filled with anger and curiosity. She had a good impression of this kind of pure girl and smiled. I have my own little idea. Then according to what you said, our line is not the most dangerous? Han Miao Shuang said. No, our line is the one with the most deaths. Sima Yue said, it is the most dangerous area. Hearing what you said before, I thought this place was very safe. Zhang Meng said with disappointment. Sima Yue smiled, this place is the most dangerous, but we can make it the safest. Chapter 978. Read 336. The people from the Sea Star Palace did not really believe Sima Yue's words. After all, this guy looked too young. Although they didn't know her exact age, They could roughly tell. Was such a young person as powerful as she boasted? The answer was that it was impossible. Although they didn't believe it, they didn't show it. Little junior brother, what did you do? Han Miao Shuang knew that Sima Yue must have done something. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so confident. This. Sima Yue took out a scarlet bee and said with a smile. You sent the bees out? When did this happen? Why didn't I see it? Han Miao Shuang cried out. Last night after you left. Sima Yue said, they've already roughly figured out the situation here, but they haven't gone in yet. But at least it should be fine for the next 2 days. Is this useful? Zhang Meng looked at the scarlet bee curiously and asked. The bees are very powerful. Little Seven said. Really? Why don't you just ask them to investigate the cause of this matter? Zhang Meng asked. Little Seven rolled her eyes. These bees can only see the surface of the situation. We have to investigate the real reason from the surface. Zhang Meng was despised, but she wasn't angry. She reached out and patted Little Seven's head, saying, I don't know them well. In a flash, Little Seven appeared on the other side of Sima Yue and dodged her hand. Zhang Meng's hand stopped in midair. She smiled awkwardly and returned to Zhang Fei's side. Since you've already sent them out, then you can lead the way. Mao Sanquan said. Zhang Fei was surprised when she saw that Mao Sanquan agreed with Sima Yue. She asked, Director Mao, are you sure? Palace Lord Zhang, if you trust old Mao, then come with us. Mao Sanquan said directly. Seeing that Mao Sanquan wasn't worried at all, Zhang Fei hesitated for a moment, nodded, and said, I naturally trust you. Let's go then. Mao Sanquan and Zhang Fei still had some friendship. If the people of the Sea Star Palace were willing to follow them, he would be happy to take them along, lest they die here. Hence, Sima Yue led the way. Everyone climbed over the mountain and went to the back of the mountain. As soon as they reached the top of the mountain, the scene before their eyes changed. It was no longer as lush as before. All the plants had turned black. They're all contaminated, Zhang Fei said in surprise when she saw the plants. I didn't expect it to become like this. Mao Sanquan was also surprised. The information they had received before was not that serious. Sima Yue looked at the darkness in front of her and then at the lush greenery behind her. She frowned slightly and said, Why is it so clear? Only then did everyone notice this absolute difference. It seems to have started from under our feet, Zhang Meng said with her head lowered. Everyone lowered their heads and saw that it was indeed the case. They took a step forward and stepped into the world of darkness. The situation here gives people a creepy feeling. A woman from the Sea Star Palace rubbed her arms. It was obvious that the scene frightened her. Wei Jing squatted down, took out a pair of silk gloves and put them on. He pulled a plant up and sniffed it. The fishy smell is stronger. Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiaoxiao also took out gloves and put them on. For people like them who often carried various herbs, silk gloves were a necessity. Sima Yu directly plucked a stalk of grass and sniffed it, saying, The smell is indeed stronger. It seems that the situation here is worsening. Little Seven copied Sima Yue and also pulled one up. After sniffing it, she threw it on the ground and said, This thing is really smelly. This thing is smelly. Sima Yue threw away the grass in her hand and took out a handkerchief to wipe Little Seven's hand. Then she wiped it for herself. Ah! A painful cry attracted everyone's attention. They looked over and saw a disciple from the Sea Star Palace holding her right hand and screaming. What's wrong? Zhang Meng ran over and pried open the woman's slightly curled right hand. Her palm was completely corroded. There was also a small grass that was thrown away by her feet. You touched this grass directly? Zhang Fei knew the reason when she saw her hand. The disciple nodded with tears in her eyes. This grass is poisonous. How can you touch it directly? Zhang Fei scolded. Didn't I say that you can't touch the things here when you come here? She looked at Sima Yue. What she meant was that she saw her touch it directly with her hand, so she followed suit. Zhang Fei took out an antidote pill and fed it to her. She said to the people from the Sea Star Palace again. I'll say it again. You can't touch the things here. Do you hear me? Yes, master. Yes, palace master. When the people from the Sea Star Palace saw the disciple's hand, those who were still curious about the place put away their thoughts. However, Yue, why is your hand fine? Zhang Meng asked. Yes, your hand is not corroded. This little sister's is not corroded either. Sima Yue said, Little Seven and I have antibodies in our bodies. What are antibodies? Antibodies are. Sima Yue did not want to explain such a troublesome thing to them. She said, it's similar to eating an antidote pill. Then the two of you are immune to poison? Zhang Meng immediately grasped the key point. You can say so. Sima Yue said, Palace Master, this antidote seems to be useless. Little junior sister's palm is still festering. Zhang Fei's observation of Sima Yue was interrupted by the exclamation. She looked over and saw that the person's hand was still festering. How can the pill be useless? Then try eating this. Zhang Fei took out another pill and wanted to give it to the disciple, but she was stopped by Mao Sanquan. Palace Master Zhang, that pill of yours is useless to her. If you delay any longer, her hand will be crippled. Instructor Mao, do you have any ideas? Zhang Fei knew that the academy was very strong. In such a short time, they could not research the antidote. Mao Sanquan took out a pill and threw it to her. She did not think twice and gave it to the disciple to eat. After the disciple ate the pill, the festering of her hand slowed down significantly and then it slowly started to scab. When we were in the academy, we studied the things here. Although we did not find out what exactly it was, we did find a little bit of an antidote. Mao Sanquan said, normal antidotes are useless to her. This one can suppress her for 10 days. If we can't find a real antidote after 10 days, she can only give up her hand. Mao Sanquan explained. What? The disciple held her wrist and looked at Zhang Fei with tears in her eyes. She said anxiously, Palace Master, there are still 10 days. We have to find the reason quickly. Zhang Fei rubbed her forehead. Let's hurry and go in. Then her life might be in danger. Shui Qin pulled her hand out, looked at her festering right hand and said, If I have to cut it off, I'd rather try. Shui Qin walked over and bowed to Zhang Fei, Palace Master. Zhang Fei took the pill from Mao Sanquan and handed it to her, asking, Are you willing to try? This disciple is willing. Shui Qin took the pill without hesitation. She thought a lot today. If it wasn't for her curiosity, her immaturity, and her disobedience to the palace master, today's incident wouldn't have happened. If she had to cut off her right hand, she was unwilling. She didn't want to live like a dog. She knew that the moment she ate the pill, she would succeed. She hugged her right hand. If she didn't succeed, she would die or have no effect. No matter what the result was, she was willing to bear it. The people in the Sea Star Palace saw her eat the pill and looked at her nervously, afraid that something would happen to her. After waiting for a while, she still didn't have any reaction. The wound on her hand didn't change and she didn't feel uncomfortable. Did you fail? Little Seven asked after seeing no reaction for a long time. The others thought so too. Because ordinary pills would have an effect after eating, it would only take a few minutes. Now that more than 10 minutes had passed and there was still no effect, it meant that they failed this time. It seems that we have to continue the research. Even Han Miao Shuang said so. She also thought that the pill this time was a failure. Wait a few more minutes. Sima Yue said, maybe a miracle will happen. Han Miao Shuang saw that Sima Yue was so sure and nodded, then let's wait. After a few more minutes, there was still no reaction. Just when everyone was about to give up, Shui Qin suddenly shouted, I feel it. I feel it. Little junior sister, how do you feel? Zhang Meng asked nervously. Shui Qin opened her hand and everyone saw that the rotten flesh was forming scabs at a speed visible to the naked eye. The scabs came off and new flesh grew. After more than 2 hours, her palm was completely new. If you didn't look carefully, you wouldn't be able to tell that she was injured. It's done. It's really done. Thank you all. Shui Qin looked at her new hand and thanked Sima Yue and the rest excitedly. It's really effective. Little Seven pulled her hand and poked the flesh in her palm to confirm that it was real. You, didn't it have no effect just now? Some pills take longer to take effect. Sima Yue said, I looked at the surrounding plants, the speed of the red spots is very slow, so I guess that the antidote will take longer to take effect. No matter what, thank you all. Zhang Fei nodded to Sima Yue. Yue, since you've researched the antidote, did you find out why this happened? Wei Jing asked. If we didn't guess wrongly, this isn't caused by the Ghost Clan or the Devil Clan, it's caused by humans. Sima Yue said. Caused by humans? Poison this place? Should be. Sima Yue said. This would also explain why only this side of the mountain looked like this. But why would those people poison this place? Poison these Huahua plants? Everyone didn't understand. Sima Yue shook her head. They were only guessing that it was caused by humans and weren't very sure, let alone guessing their motive. Since we already have a clue, then we should follow this and investigate. We should be able to find the reason. Zhang Fei said. I'm afraid this matter isn't that simple. Mao Sanquan sighed. Zhang Fei also nodded in agreement. The pill competition was just around the corner, but someone actually did such a thing here, and many people died because of it. How could such a thing be a simple matter? Chapter 980. Read 336. Now that they had found the right direction, they would have a target when they investigated later. Many things that those people had overlooked before were discovered by them, and some information was naturally found out. More and more clues confirmed their previous conjecture. Someone had poisoned all of these things. However, there wasn't much useful information. The more information they found, the colder Mao Sanquan and the others' faces became, because they thought of even more distant things. Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang also thought about it. If it was a poison from the central regions, it wouldn't be so overbearing that the people from the Alchemist Guild couldn't detect it. Therefore, the source of the poison was obvious. It must be from the inner region. The powers of the inner regions had interfered with the affairs of the outer regions and caused such a huge commotion. Furthermore, it was right before the alchemy competition. No matter what their goal was, it was enough to send chills down one's spine. We have to send this news back as soon as possible. Zhang Fei said. No. Mao Sanquan stopped him. We can't send the news back. Zhang Fei saw that Mao Sanquan stopped her and asked in confusion, why not? If we don't send the news back, I'm afraid more people will die. If word gets back, we'll be the ones to die. Mao Sanquan said, do you want others to die, or do you want us to die? Zhang Fei finally reacted. They were originally sent here by Song Changjie as cannon fodder. Let's not talk about whether or not they knew what happened here. Once they knew that they didn't die here, they would send people to kill them. If Song Changjie already knew that this was done by someone, or if they were the ones who did it, wouldn't he come to silence them after they spread the news? Therefore, no matter what, he could not contact those people. Then what should we do? We can't always stay here, right? Zhang Fei said. We have to think of a way. We can't just go back like this. Mao Sanquan said. Yes. Zhang Fei also realized it. Indeed, we have to think of a good way to go back so that they can't do anything to us. We'll have to think about it carefully, Wei Jing said. Actually, there is a more direct way. Sima Yue opened her mouth and everyone looked over. Because she had led everyone to avoid the attacks of the spirit beasts, and was also the first to discover the antidote. She had deduced that these things were man-made, so everyone had unknowingly formed a kind of trust in her. What is it? Zhang Meng asked. The night before we left the city, I asked Hummingbird to investigate some information. One of them is that the current guild master and guild master are still alive. Sima Yue said. Mao Sanquan and the others had said before that the president and the alliance master had not returned after coming here to investigate the matter. Everything pointed to disaster. You know they're still alive? The bee flew to the Alchemist Guild and heard the people inside talking. They said that although they didn't get any news about the president, they were sure that they weren't dead. Sima Yue said, if we can find them, we can go back directly. Look for the president and the alliance master? This area is so big, and there are so many dangers. Where can we find them? And if they don't want to come back, how are we going to find them? That's right. This is the most direct, simple, and effective method. Sima Yue said, if we think of other methods, it would be more difficult to implement. But I think that looking for the president and the others is the most difficult way. Someone muttered softly. The president and the others had been missing for so long. The guild must have sent many people to look for them. So many people couldn't find them. How could they find them with only a few people? As long as they're here, we can find them. Sima Yue said. If they're in danger, we can still save them. If they hide themselves, we can't find them even if we want to. The disciple of the Sea Star Palace said. Now I hope that they're in danger. If they're really hiding themselves, I'm afraid that it won't be of much use even if we find them. Wei Jing said. If they hid themselves, it meant that they couldn't go back now. It meant that the Alchemist Guild and the Alchemist Guild were going to change. Since they're here, let's find them first. Mao Sanquan said, no matter what the situation is, we have to find them. The people from the Sea Star Palace nodded. They had to find the president and the guild leader to solve the problem. Student Yue, do you have a way? Zhang Fei looked at Sima Yue and asked. Since she could use the bees to help them avoid the spirit beasts, she should be able to find the living people here. Sima Yue nodded and released more scarlet bees. She let them fly in different directions. Seeing those bees fly away, she didn't understand. They were just here to participate in the competition. How did it turn into investigating the reason for this place? How did investigating the reason for this place turn into looking for people? The water in the Alchemist Guild was really deep. We've already been here for more than 10 days. The alchemy competition will start soon. If we don't go back on time, we'll be disqualified. There's still a month before the alchemy competition starts. It's such a long time, we'll have to go back. Han Miao Shuang said confidently. We've been avoiding those spirit beasts all the way here. I heard that they were affected and went crazy. I don't know if the other two teams met with them. Sima Yue's lips curled into an imperceptible smile. They had met quite a number of spirit beasts. She was really looking forward to meeting them again. It would definitely be a surprise. At the same time, on the other side of the mountain, more than 10 people were running while panting. Every one of them was panting heavily, and their clothes were tattered as if they were beggars on the streets. Many of them had bloodstains on them. And behind them, there were many spirit beasts chasing after them. Those spirit beasts had lifeless eyes. They didn't look normal at first glance. Why are there so many spirit beasts here? They shouted. I already said that spirit beasts would appear here. I told you not to speak loudly. It would attract them. You didn't listen to me. Look at you now. What's the use of saying all this now? Quickly think of a way to get rid of these guys. If there was a way, would we have been forced to run so far away? Damn it, we're really unlucky to meet these guys. Why didn't they attack the other two teams? That's right. Someone agreed. If we knew that there were so many crazy spirit beasts here, we would have left the people from the Sea Star Palace and the Heavenly Sect together. That way, they could have blocked them for us for a while, letting the weaker people be their meat shields. Sima Yue's face instantly darkened after hearing what the bees said. Chapter 981. You want to use them to back you up? Dream on. Sensing Sima Yue's anger, everyone turned to look at her. What happened, Yu? Those people are being chased by spirit beasts. They asked why they didn't come with us so that we could buy some time for them, Sima Yue repeated. Screw her grandpa. Who said that? I'll go kill him. Little Seven angrily rolled up her sleeves. The people from the Sea Star Palace were also very angry and asked her who had said that. I don't know either. They have an eagle embroidered on their clothes. Sima Yue said. It's an eagle? That should be the Osprey Hall. Zhang Fei said. The people of the Osprey Hall have always been selfish. It's not surprising that he thought of using us to back up Manar. But they are too naive. Master, those people are too hateful. We can't just let it go like this. Zhang Meng said angrily. If we meet them, we'll definitely find a chance to teach them a lesson. Zhang Fei said calmly. Little junior brother, how are they now? Han Miao Shuang asked. They're being chased by spirit beasts all over the mountain. Sima Yue said, looking at them, I don't think they'll make it here. If they can't hold on, then it's their good fortune. If you come, we'll settle our old and new debts together. Sima Yue saw that the people from the Sea Star Palace were so angry and guessed that they must have had some conflicts in the past. At this moment, the interspatial ring moved and a hole opened in the air. A plain-looking man walked out. When he saw Sima Yue, he smiled and flew over. He resisted the urge to grab her and looked at her with a serious expression. Sima Yue recognized him at first glance and asked in surprise, Why are you here? Have you settled the matter? Wu Lingyu was very satisfied that she had seen through her disguise and recognized her. She smiled and said, Almost. Little junior brother, this is? Han Miao Shuang looked at Wu Lingyu and then at Sima Yue. Why did she feel that this man was weird? Ahem, this is a friend of mine. He said he would come and see me. Sima Yue said, you can call him Little Five. Wu Lingyu raised an eyebrow. Little Five? Junior Magus? Disgusting chills, but seeing the smile in her eyes, he still nodded and said, You can call me Little Five. Well, we have something to talk about in private. Excuse me. Sima Yue then flew away with Wu Lingyu. Little Seven pouted at their backs. Wasn't this guy going to settle some matters? How did he get here so quickly? Wu Lingyu and Yue didn't stop until they couldn't see them anymore. Why did you come here all of a sudden? Why didn't you tell me? Sima Yue glared at him. What if I accidentally exposed your identity? You can't recognize me? It turns out that you recognized me. Wu Lingyu hugged her and bent down to kiss her. Sima Yue responded to him passionately, pouring all her thoughts into this kiss. After a while, the two separated. You're here now. Have you settled everything? Sima Yue remembered how he left in a hurry last time, saying that he had something to settle. But he came back a few days later. She didn't know how it was going. It's all settled. When I went back last time, it was at the most crucial stage. After this, there's nothing else. Wu Lingyu caressed her cheek. Sima Yue was very touched. He said that it was at the most crucial stage, but he immediately rushed over when he knew that something had happened to her. This meant that she was the most important person in his heart. How long will you stay this time? She wrapped her arms around his waist and leaned on his chest. I won't be leaving for now. Wu Lingyu hugged her and rested his chin on her head. I've only been away for a few days, but I find that I miss you even more. What should I do? I want to tie you to my side so that I can see you every moment. Arnum, Sima Yue said as she pinched the R on his waist. But she couldn't help but smile. When can we get married? Wu Lingyu muttered, I wanted to finish the matter in the Devil Realm first, but I can't wait any longer. Tell me, when can we get married? Sima Yue thought for a while and said, Revenge can be done slowly, but there are some things that must be done. What things? You know about me. Since I'm in this body, and I've promised the previous her, I'm her. So I have to find my parents first. Getting married is a big thing, so it must be done with the whole family. Sima Yue said, But you don't even know your current identity now. If you want to find your parents, it will take some time. It's really an unhappy thing. Wu Lingyu sighed. But he had no reason to refute, because this was something that couldn't be refuted. But he could get someone to investigate and help her find her parents sooner. I don't think it will take long. Sima Yue said, Last time, they told me that my spiritual fusion technique is the secret technique of the inner region's Sima family. I heard that only those with the bloodline of the Sima family can use it. The inner region's Sima family, I've heard of it before. Wu Lingyu said, With this clue, it will be much easier to investigate. Then I'll leave this matter to you. Don't worry, I'll definitely find out for you. Sima Yue enjoyed the feeling of being able to rely on him occasionally. She was willing to share some of her burden with him, and at the same time, she was willing to share his burden. But this guy didn't tell her anything. Every time, he would just say that he had something to do. When she became stronger, she should be able to face those things with him, right? But this kind of feeling was still not good. Wu Lingyu felt that she was a little disappointed and asked, "What are you thinking about that makes you unhappy?" Sima Yue thought about it and decided to tell him her thoughts. "Lingyu, since we're together now, I want to know more about you. If you have something, I want to face it with you, and I don't want to be in the dark all the time under your protection. It's not that I don't like you shielding me from all the storms, but I prefer to be with you." Wu Lingyu lowered his head to look at her serious face. He knew that she liked to purely protect him. In the past, he chose to protect her behind him because her strength was too weak. It seemed that this little fellow was unhappy because of that. But he believed that even if she was switched from behind to beside him, he could still protect her well. Since you said so, I'll tell you if I have anything in the future and let you handle it with me. How about that? That's more like it. Sima Yue smiled in satisfaction. Chapter 982. They stayed there for quite a while. When they heard the screams coming from the other side, they knew that something had happened and hurried back. As soon as he crossed the call, he saw them fighting with a group of spirit beasts. "It's them?" Sima Yue recognized them. "Osprey Hall? What happened to them?" Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yue told him about what had happened, and he was immediately filled with hostility towards these people. Although he was just a small dregs, the idea of having his Yu as a human support made him rather unhappy. "Is it going to be settled?" He frowned. "No need, the people from the Starfish Palace will teach them a lesson." Sima Yue stopped her. When he made his move, these people immediately died. It was not as comfortable as slowly tormenting them. Wu Lingyu understood what Sima Yue meant. Although she didn't want to fight directly, she still didn't like those people. The people from the Osprey Hall originally thought that they were dead for sure because these spirit beasts had been chasing them for a long time. However, not long after they mentioned the people from the Sea Star Palace, they saw them resting in a valley. Therefore, it was unknown whether it was out of instinct or because they wanted to divert the trouble, but they ran towards Mao San Quan and the others. When the people from the Sea Star Palace saw the people from the Osprey Hall leading the spirit beasts towards them, the anger in their hearts immediately flared up. *CK, they were just talking about using them as backups, and now they were doing this. Did they really think they were made of clay? "Palace Lord Zhang, save me!" The people from the Osprey Hall shouted as they ran over. When they saw that not a single one of them was missing and that they didn't seem to be in a sorry state, they were puzzled. However, now was not the time to be curious about this. First, they had to deal with these spirit beasts. When the spirit beasts saw this, many of them turned to attack the people from the Sea Star Palace and the Academy. *C, these shameless people. Little Seven wanted to fight those Osprey Hall people, but Han Miao Shuang pulled her back, saying, "Let's deal with those spirit beasts first." Although Little Seven was unwilling, she still obediently went to deal with those spirit beasts. She clenched her fists and ran over, giving those spirit beasts a good beating. Her attacks were ferocious and fast. The weaker ones were dealt with a single punch, while the stronger ones were dealt with in a matter of seconds. Very quickly, the spirit beasts that were chasing after her were all taken care of by her. When the people from the Sea Star Palace saw Little Seven's combat power, their jaws dropped to the ground. Is she even human? Zhang Meng felt like she was hallucinating. How could this little girl be so powerful? She's not human. Zhang Fei said, "Such a young human child who has just started cultivating, it's impossible for her to be so powerful. She should be a transformed divine beast. With such a strong combat power, no wonder they brought her here." Zhang Fei looked at Mao San Quan and the others. Although there were very few people in the academy, their strength made people raise their eyebrows. The people from the Osprey Hall were the most surprised. They originally thought that these people would be able to hold on for a while, allowing them to successfully escape from these spirit beasts. Who would have thought that they would be able to take care of all those spirit beasts? Moreover, it was done by one person. Who is this little fellow? He's actually so powerful. Someone from the Osprey Hall cried out. Their leader, Su Gang, narrowed his eyes as he looked at Xiao Qi, his eyes filled with curiosity and plunder. If he didn't remember incorrectly, this little girl was from the heavenly sect. Previously, he thought that bringing this little girl would be a hindrance, but he didn't think that she would be such a strong, transformed divine beast. If this little girl became one of their people, Xiao Qi felt a chill run down her back. She turned around and saw Su Gang looking at her. She fiercely glared back, then walked towards Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu. Su Gang, what is the meaning of this? You actually lured the spirit beast to us. This move of diverting the disaster is truly ruthless. Zhang Fei bit down on the Su Gang's words. Su Gang had always minded the fact that he was still a vice hall master despite being in the Osprey Hall for so many years. Zhang Fei was ruthlessly stepping on his sore spot. However, in the face of the furious gazes of the Sea Star Palace, they did not dare to directly fall out with them. Su Gang forced a smile, cupped his hands towards Zhang Fei and said, "Palace Lord Zhang, you've wronged us. We didn't expect you to be here. When we saw you, we subconsciously wanted to ask for help. There's no such thing as diverting the disaster. You've already said that you want us and the Academy to be your people's support. Why are you denying it now?" A female disciple directly exposed his words. Su Gang was startled. They had said this before, but they were so far away. How did they know? Could it be that they had clairvoyant ears? However, no matter what, they didn't dare to argue with them now. They could only smile and deny it, saying, "What are you saying? How could we say such things?" Whether you said it or not, you know in your hearts." Zhang Meng said coldly. "Of course we wouldn't say such things." Su Gang was puzzled as to how they knew, but he didn't want to continue this topic. He changed the topic, asking, "None of you are missing, and there are no traces of battle. Could it be that you haven't met any spirit beasts?" "We haven't met any spirit beasts these past few days." Zhang Fei denied. "What? Did you meet many spirit beasts? Right, you had 3 factions together at that time. How come you're the only ones left now? You haven't met any spirit beasts?" The Osprey Hall people stared with wide eyes, looking at them in disbelief. "That's right." Han Miao Shuang's eyes turned, saying, "They all said that this is the most dangerous area. How come we haven't met any? Could it be that you're mistaken?" Her expression was puzzled, as if there really weren't any spirit beasts here. The Osprey Hall people felt as if they had eaten a fly. They had clearly left them the most dangerous area. How did it become like this? If they had known, they would have come here themselves. "Right? You haven't said anything about the people who were with you?" Han Miao Shuang said. "Could they be dead? Did you leave them behind as human shields?" She said it very straightforwardly and hit the nail on the head. Those people couldn't refute her. Su Gang continued to show off his ability to spout nonsense. He pretended to be sad and regretful, saying, "How could that be? The spirit beast's attacks were too powerful. We had no choice but to split up and escape to disperse their strength." "Why? You didn't see them?" Sima Yue listened from the valley. She admired how thick-skinned this person was. Those people had clearly been dragged to the back by them, but now he said that they had split up and escaped. Truly, a shameless person would want the bark of a tree. "We're all here to investigate the reason for this place. Why don't we go together?" Su Gang started to plot. Chapter 983. Read 336. You want to be with us? Zhang Fei glanced at Su Gang and directly refused. "I don't want to be with people I hate." What a straightforward rejection. Even though Su Gang was thick-skinned, he couldn't hold it in any longer. He shifted his gaze to Mao Sanquan and said, "Director Mao, are you willing to let us go together?" Mao Sanquan looked at the brilliant chrysanthemum on Su Gang's face and felt disgusted. He shook his head. "No, no, no, I don't want to see your ugly face." This was even more straightforward than Zhang Fei's words. "If that's the case, then we can only look for our former companions," Su Gang said with some embarrassment. However, although he said a lot of such things, they didn't move. Their actions showed that they didn't really want to leave. They were waiting for everyone to urge them to stay. Sima Yu looked at Su Gang with a mocking smile on her lips. She came down from the call and came to Mao Sanquan's side. She said, Director Mao, didn't you say that there is strength in numbers? Mao Sanquan raised his eyebrows. When he saw Sima Yue winking at him, he understood and changed the topic. Yes, I did say that. Hearing this, Su Gang's face lit up and he said, That's right, Dean Mao. There's strength in numbers. If we encounter any more spirit beasts, it'll be easier to deal with them with more people. That seems to be the case. Mao Sanquan said, but we still have to choose the right person. But we don't have a choice now, do we? Sima Yue said, the situation here is not optimistic, we need more people. Su Gang did not expect Sima Yue to speak up for them. He smiled and said, This little friend is right. The situation is a little special now. It's better for everyone to stick together. Mao Sanquan turned his gaze to Zhang Fei, seeking her opinion. Zhang Fei was silent for a while, then said, If you want to stay, I will treat them as heir. This could be considered as an indirect agreement. Since Sima Yue wanted them to stay, they would do her a favor. Moreover, after interacting with each other for the past few days, they believed that Sima Yue did not let them stay purely because she wanted to help them. Since even you have said so, then fine. You can come with us, but don't expect us to bring up the rear when you encounter danger. Mao Sanquan snorted as if he was very unwilling to let them stay. When Su Gang heard that they had all agreed, he smiled and said, Of course not, of course not. As he spoke, he glanced at Little Seven. With such a powerful combat strength, with her around, even if they encountered more powerful spirit beasts, they wouldn't have to run away. This little girl really moved his heart. If he had her, he would definitely be able to rise to the main hall and get rid of this damned sub-hall master. If that's the case, then let's continue on our way. Mao Sanquan said. On the road? Where are we going? We didn't find anything outside, so we have to go deeper. Sima Yue said, Deputy Palace Master Su, are you sure you want to follow us? The faces of the people from the Osprey Hall changed. They had already encountered so many spirit beasts. If they went deeper, wouldn't they encounter even more powerful spirit beasts? Wouldn't it be even more dangerous to follow them? Palace Master? Some of the disciples wanted to retreat. Su Gang hesitated for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, We'll go with you. Have you thought it through? Mao Sanquan said, If we meet any spirit beasts, we might not be able to take care of you. We've thought it through. Su Gang said firmly. He believed that as long as Little Seven and Mao Sanquan were around, they would be fine. However, what happened next was completely out of their expectations. Ever since they had joined the Osprey Hall, they would occasionally meet some spirit beasts. Those spirit beasts would always attack them. A few of them would find trouble with the Sea Star Palace, but very few of them would attack the Academy. Little Seven stood beside Sima Yue without moving. Instructor Mao, how can you just stand by and watch? Someone shouted at them. We didn't stand by and watch. We also have our own spirit beasts to deal with. Mao Sanquan said innocently. Su Gang and the others were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. What did he mean by they had spirit beasts to deal with? Did that spirit beast that was just staring at Little Seven count? Did it count? Did it count? Don't think that they didn't see it because they were busy dealing with the spirit beasts. Everyone in the Academy was just standing by and watching. Even the people from the Sea Star Palace had to deal with one spirit beast in 2s or 3s, but they had to deal with 1 or 2 spirit beasts each. What kind of situation was this? Why did those spirit beasts keep attacking them and not others? Could it be that these spirit beasts recognized people and attacked them? Sima Yue and the others stood at the top of the mountain and watched the heated battle below. Aren't we being a little unkind by doing this? Su Xiaoxiao scratched his head, but he didn't have any intention of going down to help. We didn't do anything. We just smeared something on our bodies. Han Miao Shuang crossed her arms in front of her chest and chuckled. Because the people from the Sea Star Palace are closer to us, they also have that smell on their bodies. Those spirit beasts naturally won't do anything to them. Wei Jing said, but I'm very curious. How did you guys come up with this kind of powder that the spirit beasts hate? Master likes to study these strange things. Su Xiaoxiao replied. Wei Jing shrugged. Alright, we should have thought of him earlier. He always has so many strange ideas. A powder that the spirit beasts hate when they go crazy. Master does have strange ideas. Thinking of Su Jin, Sima Yue smiled helplessly. Most people who study powders usually study spirit beasts when they are awake. Who would study spirit beasts when they are not in a clear state of mind? No matter what, this powder is useful to us. Mao Senquan said, "Oh right, do you still have this? Give me some more for future use." Yes, Master made a lot. Sima Yue took out a few bottles and handed them to Mao Senquan. Mao Senquan smiled as he took the things. Su Jin didn't give them these things in the past. He didn't think that he would give so much to his little disciples. Teach these people a good lesson. Let them have a taste of being used as human shields. Sima Yue said. The people from the Sea Star Palace will definitely like this result. It's better than telling them to scram. Han Miao Shuang said. They knew that Sima Yue didn't have good intentions when she asked the people from the Osprey Hall to stay. They didn't think that there would be such a trick. Who asked them to be so annoying? Little Seven finished off the spirit beast and turned around. Sima Yue's expression suddenly changed as she said to everyone, the bees sent news that they found traces of the president. Chapter 984. Read 336. Hearing that there was news about the guild leader, Mao Senquan and the others all looked over. This news wasn't too sudden. With the bees doing a carpet search, it was only a matter of time before they were found. We have to settle this quickly. Bee sent news that the situation over there isn't good. Sima Yue said. What's wrong? Wei Jing asked. The bees said they were trapped. Someone is chasing after them. Sima Yue said, it seems like it's not that they don't want to go back, but they can't. Someone actually dares to chase after the guild president and Pill Subdivision's leader outside Cloud Sea City. Han Miao Shuang said in surprise. There will always be people with ulterior motives, Sima Yue said. We'll head over once they've dealt with the spirit beasts here. Don't we need to rush over to save them? Wei Jing asked. They can still hold on for a while. Sima Yue said, let's get rid of these people first. It hurts my eyes to bring them on the road. Since your eyes hurt, why did you take them for such a long time? The people from the Sea Star Palace dealt with each spirit beast in 2s and 3s. They quickly retreated, leaving only the spirit beasts and the people from the Osprey Hall fighting. Director Mao, we can't hold on any longer. Are you still going to stand by and watch? Su Gang shouted to Mao Senquan when he saw that the people from the Sea Star Palace had also retreated, leaving them to deal with the spirit beasts. Don't you guys like to let others cover for you and let others be your human shields? Now that you've tasted it, how do you feel? Zhang Fei sneered. Palace Master Zhang, we didn't say anything like that. Why are you framing us again and again? Su Gang shouted. You know best whether I have or not. Zhang Fei said, you abandoned others before, and now you have a taste of being abandoned. You all know. Su Gang's pupils shrank. They clearly weren't there, so how could he speak as if he had seen it with his own eyes? Of course I do. Zhang Fei said, I know how you've tricked others. I know that you've asked us to be your human shields. Su Gang, you've done this before. Do you think you can do it again? How did you know? Su Gang couldn't believe it. Naturally, we have our ways. Instead of yelling at us, why don't you focus on dealing with these spiritual beasts? Who knows, this might be your last moment in this world. Su Gang was so angry that he almost vomited blood. In a moment of distraction, he was struck by the spirit beast in front of him. His entire body flew out and landed right in front of a high-grade sacred beast. It stretched out its huge foot and stomped down hard. When it moved its foot away, he had already become a flat meat patty. The palace master of a sub-palace had died just like that. If word got out, it would be too shameful. When the people of the Osprey Hall saw that their leader had died, the last line of defense in their hearts was completely broken. They were quickly annihilated by the spirit beasts. After the spirit beasts finished killing the people in the valley, they all looked up at the valley. Little Sevens might press down, causing all the spirit beasts to tremble on the ground. Either die or scram. Although the spirit beasts had lost their minds due to the poison, they hadn't completely lost their minds. After being frightened by Shao-Chi, they all retreated. When Little Seven retracted her pressure, they all ran away without even looking back. Sima Yue set fire to those people's bodies and burned all the corpses. Then, she called out Chongming and said to everyone, "Let's go." The people from the Sea Star Palace didn't know what was going on at first. Only on the way did they know that there was news of the president and the others. They flew towards the depths of this area. On the way, they met many spirit beasts. However, with Little Seven around, those spirit beasts that were itching to attack all retreated. The Alchemist Guild's president, Xia Chang Tian, and the Pill Subdivision's chief, Zhao Xiangqi, were currently leading a few bodyguards to fight in a mountain range. Every one of them had suffered serious injuries and their spirit energy was on the verge of drying up. It was a good thing that they had top-grade pills on them that could continuously replenish their spirit energy. "President, Chief, we can't go on like this. You guys should leave first." The Alchemist Guild's bodyguard, Xia Chang Tian's bodyguard, Gao Zhihong, said, "Huh, you want to escape? We have so many people. Do you think you can escape?" A black-clothed man laughed loudly. "We have so many people. You won't be able to escape even if you have wings." "Just who are you people?" Zhao Xiangqi asked as he clutched his chest. His face was pale and a red-clothed lady was supporting him. He was still on the verge of collapsing and looked like his injuries weren't light. "Just wait until you go to hell and you'll naturally know who we are." That black-clothed man said, "You guys are indeed capable, but who asked you to be disobedient? You're from there." Xia Chang Tian immediately reacted when he heard this. "Everyone says that President Xia is an alchemy maniac. I didn't think that you would be so smart. Since you know, then obediently go to hell." That black-clothed man's eyes revealed a strong killing intent. "Once you're dead, all of your obstructions will no longer exist." "So it was you guys who did this?" Xia Chang Tian was also injured. When he spoke, the smell of blood surged, but he forcefully suppressed it. "That's right." That black-clothed man pulled down the veil on his face and said, "If you guys had agreed to Master's request earlier, you wouldn't have ended up like this today. Not only that, you guys could have obtained unparalleled glory. It's a pity that you guys didn't cherish this opportunity. Pay!" Xia Chang Tian spat at him. This childish way of doing things made the people hiding at the side laugh. "Keep your mouth shut. You want us to do things for you? That's impossible." Zhao Xiangqi looked at that person with disdain. We don't need you to do anything for us now." That black-clothed man's lips curled into a meaningful smile. "As long as you guys die, there will be someone to take your place and make the decisions for you." "I knew it. Those people must have colluded with you guys. Otherwise, you wouldn't know about us every time. Song Changjie, that trash, see if I don't tear him apart when I get back." "Ha ha. That's on the premise that you guys can return alive." The black-clothed man laughed loudly. "Unfortunately, you can only dream about it. We'll send you to hell right now. Go." "Alliance leader, you and President go first. I'll hold them back." The red-clothed lady supporting Zhao Xiangqi released him and handed him over to another person. "Hongito, you go first. With your ability, you can escape." Zhao Xiangqi grabbed her hand, not letting her go forward. None of you will be able to escape today." The black-clothed man said, "Go, don't leave a single one alive." Yes. More than 10 supreme gods attacked Xia Chang Tian and the others. The situation became extremely urgent. Chapter 985. The guards of the Alchemist Guild and the Dan Alliance quickly surrounded the two of them, preparing to use their last bit of strength to block the attacks of these people. Their faces were filled with the determination to face death. They were already mentally prepared for today's outcome. There were so many people on the other side, and every one of them was full of spirit energy. What about them? Everyone was seriously injured, and their spiritual power was almost exhausted. Although they had pills to support them, They still couldn't fight against the enemy's numbers. Right now, they only wanted to buy a little bit of time for their master to escape. But why did the attack stop when they got close to them? Those people were still fine, and the spiritual technique hadn't been attacked, so why did it stop? Those people also realized that something was wrong. Their attacks were clearly about to hit those people, but why did they suddenly feel that those people were so far away that they couldn't hit them? Guild leader? What's going on? Spatial seal. Red said in surprise. Someone is here to save us. Space lock? Who can seal such a large space? Gao Jihong frowned. As far as he knew, no one in the central region was able to seal off such a large space. If it was someone from the inner region, then who would appear here at this time? What was his purpose in coming here? No matter who it is, I'm sure they aren't in cahoots with the other party. Xia Chang Tian said. At this time, a cold voice came from behind the crowd. Spatial conversion, change. By the time he finished speaking, everyone had already appeared on the hillside 100 meters away. The men in black did not expect that the people in the middle would suddenly disappear. Sensing their appearance, everyone looked over. Unfortunately, before they could see what was going on, a dozen small metal balls fell from the sky. Bang! 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 The successive explosions caused the people from the Alchemist Guild and the Dan Alliance to be stunned. This series of unforeseen events caused them to be unable to react. Sima Yue supported Chongming and asked, "How are you?" Chongming's mouth overflowed with a trace of blood. He weakly waved his hand and said, "I'm fine. I'll be fine after taking some pills and resting." "Then you can go back." Sima Yue took out a pill and gave it to him. Chongming swallowed the pill, and with a shout, the spatial seal that was similar to that of the Alchemist Guild opened. He nodded at Sima Yue and Yue took him back. The people of the Alchemist Guild had already noticed the commotion here, but they didn't expect that the person who saved them with the spatial transformation was actually a divine beast. The smell of the golden snake fruit. Even from so far away, Xia Chang Tian could smell the ingredients of the pill. He stared at Sima Yue with a burning gaze. Zhao Xiangqi also smelled it. He pulled the guy who was about to drool and said, "Don't worry about that for now. The matter here hasn't been resolved yet." Xia Chang Tian reluctantly looked down, but was stunned by the scene in front of him. What's going on? He blinked twice, unable to believe what he was seeing. The small metal ball exploded half of the people into smithereens. Some of the stronger ones reacted quickly and used their spirit energy to protect themselves at the last moment. They originally thought that they had escaped, but they didn't expect that when they were preparing to fly away, they all fell from the sky and landed on their backs, or ate a mouthful of dirt. What's going on? So many people were defeated in an instant. The situation took a 180-degree turn. Little junior brother, I didn't expect your poison to be so useful. Even monarch-ranked experts can't take it. Do you have any more? Give me some to protect myself in the future. Han Miao Shuang looked at their reactions and said with a smile, "I don't have any more, but I can give you the recipe later." Sima Yue said, "These medicinal powders were the leftover from when she gave Wang Si Miao. Recently, she had been busy and didn't have time to refine new ones. It's fine if you have the recipe." Han Miao Shuang nodded. Are all those people defeated? Zhang Meng looked at the tragic scene below and couldn't accept it. They had already been here for a while. Because the opponent had more people and was much stronger than them, they didn't immediately go out to save them. Just as everyone was at their wits' end, Sima Yue called Chongming out, then took out many thunderbolt bombs and poured in a lot of medicinal powders. She told them to throw it over after Chongming swapped people out. At first, they didn't think that this method would work. They thought that it was impossible to swap people out, and this small metal ball didn't have much power. But what happened next made them deeply impressed by Sima Yue's intelligence. They also had a strong interest in this small metal ball. I remember, this is the rumored thunderbolt bomb. Shui Qin shouted. That's right, this is definitely a thunderbolt bomb. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. Now that you mention it, I remember. This thunderbolt bomb does look like this. I didn't expect that we would personally use this thing. The disciples of the Sea Star Palace were still discussing intensely. Zhang Fei and Mao Sanquan had already walked down from the mountain and came in front of Xia Chong Tian and the others. They bowed to them. Subdivision Leader, President Xia. Zhao Xiangqi looked deeply at Sima Yue, then waved to them and said, "You may rise." "Thank you, Subdivision Leader." Sima Yue looked at Han Miao Shuang silently, using her eyes to ask, "You have to bow to the Pill Subdivision Leader?" Han Miao Shuang raised her eyebrows. "Don't you know that they are superior and subordinate?" Chapter 986. Indeed, unlike the previous alchemists, Xia Chong Tian and Zhao Xiangqi were not sloppy old men, but two handsome young men. Xia Chong Tian was dressed in white, looking elegant and graceful. Zhao Xiangqi was dressed in a long blue gown, looking like an orchid tree. These two people must be misophobic and narcissistic. Sima Yue thought to herself that only a misophobic alchemist would pay so much attention to his appearance. Only a narcissist would allow himself to stay young forever. "How did you guys find us?" Xia Chong Tian was rather familiar with Mao Sanquan, so he walked over and put his hand on his shoulder as he asked. "Yue discovered it," Mao Sanquan said. "This little guy?" Everyone was a little surprised. This little guy didn't seem to be very strong. "How did he find them?" "I have an assistant," Sima Yue said. "They were the ones who discovered it." As she spoke, a few scarlet bees flew out from the surrounding trees and flowers. They circled Sima Yue twice before flying away. "Damn, is that a scarlet bee?" Xia Chong Tian shouted loudly, wanting to chase after those scarlet bees, but because his injuries were too heavy, he was pulled back by Gao Zhihong, who was beside him. "Guild leader, your injuries are too serious. Don't run around." When he said that, Xia Chong Tian pursed his lips. Although he was unhappy, he didn't chase after the scarlet bees. He turned to Sima Yue and asked, "Those are scarlet bees, right?" Sima Yue did not expect these old fellows' eyes to be so sharp that they could recognize her even after she had transformed into a scarlet bee. "Ha, I knew it." Xia Chong Tian saw Sima Yue's silent agreement and shouted excitedly, "How did you get so many scarlet bees? Where did you find it? Have you seen the queen bee?" "Guild leader, you're scaring him," Gao Zhihong said in a deep voice. Sima Yue realized that Xia Chong Tian was very obedient to Gao Zhihong. Although Mao Sanquan said that he was the captain of his bodyguards, she realized that there was something different between the two of them. As long as he said something, Xia Chong Tian would listen to him. Only later did she find out that Gao Zhihong had followed Xia Chong Tian for several hundred years. To be more precise, the two of them had been together since they were young and had been together for 1,000 years. They were master and servant in name, but in reality, they were family. And because Xia Chong Tian was disobedient in the past, Gao Zhihong almost died a few times. Perhaps it was the guilt in his heart, or perhaps it was the 1,000 years of companionship, but he listened to Gao Zhihong very much. "So many scarlet bees, you must have a scarlet bee king, right?" Zhao Xiangqi smiled. "Can we meet it later?" Sima Yue nodded. Zhao Xiangqi's smile deepened. Wu Lingyu went to Sima Yue and grabbed her hand. Sima Yue was shocked and turned to look at him. Zhao Xiangqi was surprised by Wu Lingyu's cold aura. He felt a faint hostility from him and was puzzled. He asked, "Who is this?" Sima Yue was a little embarrassed. She was dressed as a man, and he was holding her hand in front of everyone. Other people might think too much. "Ha, old Zhao, can't you tell?" Xia Chong Tian laughed. "They're so obvious, they must be a couple." Zhao Xiangqi frowned. Xia Chong Tian came to his side and patted his shoulder, saying, "I told you before, don't be so surprised when you see this. They're together because they truly love each other." Sima Yue was embarrassed. They all thought that she was a man and liked men. "Little Yue, don't be afraid. Old Zhao is like this." Xia Chong Tian came to Sima Yue's side and said, "Come, tell me, when you guys did that, were you on top or bottom?" Hearing this, her face flushed red. What the hell was this? You're all mistaken. We're not like what you think. She explained. Although their relationship was right, she was a woman. Don't be embarrassed. This isn't a big deal. Don't be scared off by the secular world. I support you. Xia Chang Tian said sincerely. To hell with your support. What a disrespectful old man. Sima Yue cursed in her heart. Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yue and smiled faintly, looking at her with eyes full of emotions. This confirmed everyone's thoughts. Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiaoxiao knew that she was a woman, so they didn't think too much. Instead, they were curious about Wu Lingyu's identity. But the disciples of Sea Star Palace were upset. Along the way, many people were subdued by her charms and had feelings for her. But before they could find a chance to confess, something like this happened. Their beloved man actually liked men. They could almost hear their hearts breaking. Cough cough. This, President, Chief, let's settle the people below first. Han Miao Shuang looked at Sima Yue and helped her out. That's right, I almost forgot about these people. Xia Chang Tian said, Little Yue, we'll talk about your matters later. Let's settle these trash first. So, the group of people walked towards the valley. Sima Yue looked at Han Miao Shuang gratefully. Han Miao Shuang looked back at her with a, I'll ask you later, expression and went down with Mao Senquan and the others. Sima Yue glared at Wu Lingyu, but seeing his innocent face, she couldn't vent her anger. She humphed and went down. Wu Lingyu looked at her and his smile widened. President, who are these people? Zhang Fei asked. Who else could they be? The devils from the inner regions. Xia Chang Tian said, Little Yue, how long can your medicine last? They can't move for 2 to 3 hours. Sima Yue said. That's good. Xia Chang Tian said, then we have time to interrogate them properly. Humph, don't think of getting anything out of us. That black-clothed man said, we won't betray master. That's not up to you. Xia Chang Tian took out a white pill. Seeing that pill, that black-clothed man was shocked. 100-worm pill. That's right. Xia Chang Tian said with a smile. Come, eat this pill and you'll tell the truth obediently. Don't even think about it. That black-clothed man obviously knew the horror of the 100-worm pill. After eating the poison hidden in his mouth, he quickly died. When the others saw this, they also ate the poison and ended their own lives. Xia Chang Tian didn't think that they would die just like that. He couldn't stop them in time and those who were still alive all became corpses. Seems like these people are death warriors. Hong Yi said, but there are many powers in the inner regions that have death warriors. Strip them naked and see if you can find any clues. Xia Chang Tian ordered. Gao Zhihong glared at him and said to the guards, Go and search, see if you can find any clues. Yes, Captain. Sima Yue looked at Gao Zhihong, then looked at Xia Chang Tian. Her eyes turned and felt like she smelled something different. Chapter 987. The guards searched for a bit, then stood up and said, Captain, we didn't find anything. These people didn't have any markings on them, nor did they have anything that could identify them. See if there's anything in their spatial rings. Red said. Sima Yue realized that Red Coat's status was not low. After she finished speaking, the guards went to check the interspatial rings. However, those people were already prepared for failure and didn't bring anything that could identify them. Therefore, after searching through those spatial rings, other than some elixirs and spirit weapons, he didn't find anything. Since they are death warriors, they naturally wouldn't leave anything behind for others. Mao Senquan said, If we can't find out their identities, then the trail will end. They won't. Xia Chang Tian said, We'll know who's behind this when we return to the guild. This matter was definitely done by the Inner Circle, the Alchemist Guild, and the Dan Alliance. Although these people were dead, the Alchemist Guild's mole was still there. As long as the mole was found, they would be able to find out who it was. Without evidence, I'm afraid it won't be easy to find those people. Zhang Fei said worriedly. If they don't confess, we'll beat them until they do. Hong Yi snorted coldly. It could be seen that this red-clothed beauty was definitely not a kind person. There are only a dozen or so days left until the pill competition. Let's go back earlier. Mao Sanquan said, if you don't go back now, I reckon your position will change hands. If that's really the case, then there's no need for us to find the traitor. Xia Chang Tian said. When they thought of the person who had harmed them, their hearts were filled with anger. They must find them and ruthlessly torture them. They summoned their flying beasts and flew towards the city. Those who were injured began to circulate their energy to heal themselves, while those who were lightly injured talked to Mao Sanquan and the others. There was another one that was rather special. He was clearly heavily injured, but he only ate medicinal pills and was unwilling to circulate his energy to heal his injuries. Little Yue, why don't you tell President how you two got together? Xia Chang Tian sat beside Sima Yue and asked with a smile. Wu Lingyu was on the other side of her. He didn't intend to help and wanted to hear what she had to say. Sima Yue did not want to answer this question and said, President, are you in such a hurry to ask for advice because Captain Gao did not accept you? The smile on Xia Chang Tian's face froze. He casually set up a barrier so that no one else could hear their conversation. As expected of a kindred spirit. You can tell at a glance. To hell with your kindred spirit. Sima Yue wanted to curse, but she couldn't say it out loud. She had to put on a smile and say, President, we can't force you to do this. We can only let nature take its course. The more you force him, the more disgusted he will be. Xia Chang Tian looked at the meditating Gao Jihong and said, he doesn't dislike me, but he just doesn't want to be with me. Unlike your partner, who isn't afraid to reveal your identities in public. Then you should give him time. Sima Yue said, if you like him, you have to go along with his wishes. If you make him unhappy, you'll be angry and upset. I think so. So, if he wants to announce it, then announce it. If he doesn't want to announce it, then don't announce it. As long as the two of you are happy, then it's fine. But I want to gain the recognition of the outside world, but he says that this will affect my reputation. Xia Chang Tian said, we've even argued a few times because of this. Sima Yue was going crazy. Did this guy really think of her as a friend that he could confide in? Her heart was already filled with tears, wasn't it? Actually, the two of you aren't wrong. She resisted the urge to beat them up and said, you're just thinking for each other. But I agree with Captain Gao's way of doing things. But think about it, you're the president of the Alchemist Guild. You're in charge of the Alchemist Guild in the outer and central regions. Sima Yue said, in the eyes of the world, you're a grandmaster alchemist, a high and mighty figure. If others know that you like a man, your image will be greatly affected. He likes you, so he doesn't want others to look down on you. Xia Chang Tian was silent for a while, then sighed and said, I know what you're saying, but I want to always be with him and not behind others. I feel that you're not the kind of person who likes men, it's just that the person you like is a man. Sima Yue expressed her feelings, but since you like him, you have to think for him. Xia Chang Tian looked at her emotionally, feeling that he had really found a confidant. In the past, he really liked women, but now, other than Gao Zhihong, he didn't have any feelings for other men. It was really what she said. He didn't like men, it was just that the person he liked was a man. Sima Yue was frightened by his expression. Did she say something that she shouldn't have? Cough cough, you said to think for him. Do you think I'm not thinking for him enough? I want to give him an identity. Xia Chang Tian saw that she was stunned and asked. You want to give him an open and honorable identity. This is a good idea. Sima Yue leaned towards Wu Lingyu and continued, but have you thought about it? If you announce your relationship, it will hurt him. Others may think that he seduced you and led you astray, and then all kinds of dirty words will be thrown at him. They don't dare to say anything about you, but what about your guard? Are you willing to see him being pointed at by others? Xia Chang Tian was silent. This was something that he didn't think of before. He didn't care if others looked down on him, but he didn't want others to insult him. Love is actually a matter between two people. You like him, he likes you, and that's enough. You don't have to care about what others think. Whether it's blessings, insults, or disdain, it has nothing to do with you. After all, This is a life between the two of you. Sima Yue spoke her thoughts. Xia Chang Tian pondered over Sima Yue's words and suddenly understood something. He patted her shoulder and said, "So little Yue sees things more clearly than me. No wonder you don't have anything to worry about. I understand what you're saying now. Thank you." After speaking, he removed the barrier and went to Gao Zhihong's side. Sima Yue pursed her lips. If he understood, then he understood. Why did he have to drag her into it? Wu Lingyu's laughter came from beside her. She glared at him fiercely. Seeing his gloating face, she reached out her hands and rubbed his face. And in Xia Chang Tian's eyes, this proved that she didn't have to care about what others thought. Wu Lingyu grabbed her little hand and whispered in her ear, "I like what you said. If you were a man, I think I would still like you." Scram! Sima Yue couldn't help but scold him. Even if he could accept it, she couldn't. Although she didn't discriminate, she never thought that she would have a day like this. Fortunately, both of them were normal. Haha. Wu Lingyu saw her like this and laughed even more happily. With the help of the bees, they avoided all the attacks on the way and successfully arrived at the city gates. Chapter 988. They changed the guards. Zhao Xiangqi observed for a while and said in a deep voice, "These people aren't your people?" Han Miao Shuang asked. Xia Chang Tian's expression wasn't good either. "Aren't you the president and alliance master? These people aren't your men?" Little Seven asked. "These people don't look familiar." Zhao Xiangqi said, "They shouldn't be from the Union." "Since you're not from the Union, why are you here?" "It must be the work of a traitor." Han Miao Shuang said, "If that's the case, can we go in? Will it be dangerous inside?" "Let's give it a try." Redcoat said. "What if you don't open the door?" Mao Sanquan continued, "Based on the situation we saw earlier, they've taken control of the entire city. So, if they don't recognize your faces, you too will die if you go there now." Sima Yue said, "Anyway, the people in the city won't know if we kill you here." "What a straightforward little fellow. Yue is right. If I kill you outside, the people inside won't know." Mao Sanquan said, "Moreover, they have more people here. Although you have your own people, I think they won't be as fast as the other party." "That's true." Redcoat said, "When you're not around, they have to listen to those people's orders." "Then we're not going in?" Zhang Meng asked. "Think of a way to get in," Gao Jihong said. "As long as we get in, they won't dare to deny it in front of everyone." "You'll have to get there first," Zhang Fei said, "and if we want to find out the real culprit, we have to create a commotion here so that those people can be prepared. There are only a few spies with power. It's not hard to find them," Xia Chang Tian said. "But it's impossible to find all of them. Therefore, you can only enter secretly." "That's impossible," Zhao Xiangqi said. "If it was so easy to sneak into Cloud Sea City, then it wouldn't be a mysterious city." "Mysterious city?" Sima Yue looked at Wu Lingyu, hoping that he would tell her more about it. "Most people only know that Cloud Sea City is the location of the Alchemist Guild and the Pill Alliance, but they don't know where it is." Wu Lingyu said, "Usually, it's impossible to enter even if you want to. There were tight formations and barriers here. You have to know that they are also very familiar with the people from the Array Masters Guild." "What if I want to sneak in?" Sima Yue asked. "There's no doubt that it will be discovered. People from any faction? It's useless if the Celestial Emperor is here." Wu Lingyu shrugged. "Wasn't this nonsense? Is there an Imperial Emperor now?" She glared at Wu Lingyu. When she turned around, she saw Mao Sanquan looking at her with burning eyes. "Director Mao, why are you looking at me like that?" She shrunk her neck. "You have a way for them to sneak in, right?" 10 minutes later, they passed through the clouds and arrived at the bottom of the city wall. At this time, there were only people from the Sea Star Palace and the sect. "If we go in like this, how will the dean and the others go in?" Zhang Meng asked. "You'll know when the time comes." Mao Sanquan said, "Let's go into the city now." When they arrived at the city gate, the guards at the city gate noticed them immediately. "Who is it?" We're back. Mao Sanquan said, don't tell me that you won't recognize us after 10 days. Invitation. Mao Sanquan opened the invitation and the symbol appeared. Open the door. The city gate slowly opened. Mao Sanquan led the people in. The city gate closed immediately. Go and tell the president that these people are back. The captain of the guards called someone over and ordered. The guard accepted the order and left. I didn't expect them to come back alive. Could it be that things have changed? Mao Sanquan and Zhang Fei went to the Pill Alliance. Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang went back to the inn. You're finally back. If you didn't come back, we would be worried to death. Fu Xiaodai, the only female alchemist other than Yu Yu and Han Miao Shuang. When she saw them coming back, she quickly went up to them. When the other students and teachers saw them, they came down from upstairs. What's wrong? Sima Yue saw their worried faces and asked, did something happen? Nothing happened to us. We heard that you went outside. We also heard that the people who went out didn't come back. Fu Xiaodai said, you left for so many days. We were worried that you wouldn't come back. Who did you hear it from? Sima Yue asked. They didn't tell the other students about this. The people from the Pill Alliance and the Alchemist Guild wouldn't say it either. But they knew about it now. When we went out earlier, we had a conflict with a lady in green clothes. Their people said it. Fu Xiaodai said. Who is she? I think she's a young lady from the guild. Fu Xiaodai said, she said that she wanted her grandfather to disqualify us from the competition. A grandfather who can disqualify us from the competition? Seems like he has a lot of power. Sima Yue said, how did you offend her? Although they didn't have any contact with her, they could imagine what kind of lady she was. It's all my fault. She and I saw the same herb at the same time and we had a conflict. Fu Xiaodai said. Now that Director Mao is back, nothing will happen. Sima Yue said, you don't have to care about those young ladies. Where's Director Mao? A teacher asked. He went to the Pill Alliance. He should be back soon. Sima Yue said. Then she said to Wu Lingyu who was beside her, I'll get a room for you. No need. I'll just stay in your room. Wu Lingyu said. No. Two voices of objection sounded at the same time. One was Yu Yue and the other was Little Seven. I'm staying with Yu Yue. How can you kick me out? Little Seven said with her hands on her hips. You're a girl. Chapter 989. In the end, there was no suspense. Little Seven was chased to Han Miao Shuang's side, and Wu Lingyu succeeded. Sima Yue could not help but shudder when she thought of the word superior. Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiaoxiao followed Sima Yue to her room. Once the door was closed, both of them stared at Wu Lingyu. Who is he? Han Miao Shuang asked. They had to ask about this person's situation clearly. Their little junior sister couldn't be casually cheated away by others. They had to check carefully. Sima Yue looked at Wu Lingyu and wondered if she should reveal his identity. Wu Lingyu took off the illusion ring and returned to his original appearance. You are Wu Lingyu? When Han Miao Shuang saw Wu Lingyu, she couldn't remain calm. Did she recognize the wrong person? Or was she hallucinating? Junior sister's boyfriend was actually the holy son of the Sage Pavilion? It's the real deal. Wu Lingyu went forward and hugged Sima Yue. I heard from Yue that you guys took care of her. Thank you. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. This guy was acting like a saint again. About that you're welcome. She's our junior sister. Han Miao Shuang stuttered. Senior sister, you don't have to be so dramatic, right? Sima Yue was speechless. You don't know this, but he's the only man she's ever praised before, Su Xiao said. Now that he's suddenly appeared in front of her, she must be very excited. Sima Yue widened her eyes and looked at Han Miao Shuang in disbelief. Wu Lingyu's pretentious act actually earned her praise? Was his disguise too good, or was she too easily fooled? But junior sister, you seem to have a grudge with the Sage Pavilion, right? Han Miao Shuang recalled Sima Yu's incident. She had heard her mention some things about the Sage Pavilion. But he's also my senior brother, Sima Yue said. Anyway, It's fine as long as he doesn't obstruct me when I'm doing something. Not only would he not obstruct her, he would even help her. Oh, that's good. Han Miao Shuang said, Sigh, why do I feel like my little girl has been kidnapped? I think it's better for me and junior sister to stay together. It's not good for you guys to be alone. Han Miao Shuang suddenly suggested. If you come in now, in the eyes of others, you'll be a single man and woman, Wu Lingyu said. All right, little junior sister, you, bang. Han Miao Shuang's words were interrupted by the sound of a collision downstairs, followed by the shouts of the Alchemist Guild students. Let's go down and take a look. Sima Yue said as she ran down. Han Miao Shuang and the others followed. In the main hall of the inn, a table had been crushed into pieces. 2 students from the academy were lying on top of it, groaning as they clutched their chests. The others stood in the middle of the main hall, protecting Fu Xiao Dai in the middle. At the entrance, a few guards from the Alchemist Guild cupped their fists, facing the academy's students. A lady in green stood in front, holding a long whip in her hand. I've said it before, as long as you guys are in this city, you won't be able to escape. Zhan Lu pulled the whip in her hand, looking at Fu Xiao Dai with contempt. Fu Xiao Dai squeezed through the academy students and came to the front, facing Zhan Lu. She shouted coldly, At that time, I was the one who chose the medicinal ingredient first, not to mention that you snatched it away forcefully. Now you're beating people up. You're so unreasonable. So what if I'm unreasonable? Zhan Lu smiled evilly. I have the capital, do you? If you have it, you can do it too. Fu Xiao Dai was so infuriated by her thick skin that she was speechless. What exactly do you want to do? Very simple, kneel down in front of this young miss and say that you're wrong. You shouldn't have offended this young Mississippi. In the future, if you see this young miss, you should take a detour and call me great aunt a few more times, then I'll let you off. Zhan Lu said. Don't even think about it. Fu Xiaodai didn't even think about it and rejected. Asking her to kneel down in front of this person, that was impossible. You're not willing? Then I'll beat you until you're willing. Zhan Lu said as she waved the whip in her hand towards Fu Xiaodai. Junior sister, move aside. The academy's people pulled Fu Xiaodai aside, narrowly avoiding that attack. Zhan Lu's attack didn't hit her and she said to the guards beside her, Capture those people for me. Yes, young Mississippi, the academy's people were all alchemist masters and their abilities were originally lower than others. Now that they met these guards, they weren't their opponents at all. With just a pressure from them, they were unable to move. I'll see where you can escape to this time. Zhan Lu gave a cold smile and continued to wave her whip. Fu Xiaodai also took out her own weapon and went up, but there was a certain gap in their abilities and she quickly fell into a disadvantageous position. Sima Yue looked at the scene below from upstairs and said, I don't understand why those unruly young misses like to use whips. Don't tell me that this shows her unruly nature? Who knows? Han Miao Shuang said, I hate people who use whips the most. Little Seven said, Watch me. Little Seven jumped down after saying that. Don't kill her. Sima Yue shouted at her. Fu Xiaodai was forced to the side of the wall. Seeing that Zhan Lu was about to swing her whip at her face, she stopped in front of her and heard Little Seven's shout. You still have the cheek to show off such an ugly whip. After Little Seven finished speaking, she grabbed the whip and pulled it forcefully. The entire whip was split into a few pieces. Little Seven's body is comparable to a spirit beast's. Han Miao Shuang saw Little Seven destroy a spirit weapon with her bare hands and sighed. Sima Yue felt that Little Seven was quite similar to her. She had also destroyed other people's whips the last time and she was doing the same now. Zhan Lu didn't have time to react and her spirit weapon was destroyed, especially since the other party was a child. She was stunned and shouted, Who are you? I'm your little grandaunt. After Little Seven finished speaking, she kicked her stomach and sent her crashing onto a table. The table beneath her was smashed into pieces. The degree of smashing was similar to the academy's smashing. Young miss. The guards of the Alchemist Guild were enraged. Zhan Lu was beaten up in front of them. If this were to spread out, would they still have any face? They would definitely be punished when they returned. They attacked together. Regardless of whether Little Seven was a child or not, all the attacks were directed at Little Seven alone. Little Seven's figure flashed and everyone only saw a blur in front of their eyes. Those guards were all sent flying to the streets outside. Ouch! Those guards fell heavily on the ground and a few of them couldn't help but cry out. The people on the streets were shocked by the sudden situation. When they took a closer look, it was actually the people from the Alchemist Guild who were beaten up. They all hid at the side to watch the show. Beating up the guards of the Alchemist Guild in the Cloud Sea City was something that had never happened before. These people were probably going to be in trouble. They didn't know who was so ignorant. Chapter 990. In everyone's eyes, beating up the people from the Alchemist Guild was no different from pulling a tooth from the tiger's mouth. It was simply an act of seeking death. How many years has it been since something like this happened? At least, none of the people present had ever seen one before. How dare you hit my Alchemist Guild's people? The guard captain crawled up from the ground and shouted at Fu Xiaodai and the rest. Little Grand and is hitting you. Little Seven jumped out from the inn. She placed her hands on her hips and confronted them. Does your heavenly sect still think this is Heavenly Sect City? Zhanlu climbed up. Just you wait, I will definitely make you all die. You don't have the right to say whether or not we will die, but I know that if you don't scram, you will die. Seven said. Sima Yue walked out from inside and came to Little Seven's side. She looked at the people from the Alchemist Guild and said, We are here. If the Alchemist Guild really wants to deal with us unreasonably, we will welcome you anytime. For you. Zhanlu looked at Sima Yue. She didn't see her just now, but from the way Little Seven looked at her, she seemed to be the one who spoke here. If that was the case, then the reason why this little guy came to beat them up was all because of this person. Sima Yue smiled evilly. Sky Heaven Academy, Sima Yue, you better remember this. I'll remember this. Just you wait. Let's go. After Zhanlu finished speaking, she led her men away in a sorry state. The surrounding people who were watching the show hadn't seen enough when they saw the people from the Alchemist Guild leave with their tails between their legs. They were extremely curious. In the past, they were all bossy and domineering. Why did they give up so easily today? The Heavenly Sect's people offended the Alchemist Guild. They're doomed. Just wait and see. They won't let this go so easily. Hee, we have something interesting to watch again. Those people were discussing about leaving. Many people had noticed them and were waiting to see a good show. Fu Xiaodai came to Sima Yue's side and said, You don't have to be like this. This matter was originally directed at me. She saw the way Zhanlu looked at Sima Yue as if she wanted to eat her up. Now that she left like this, she would definitely find trouble with Yue in the future. What Little Seven did is no different from what I did. Sima Yue said, Besides, we're all from the academy. How can we watch you guys get bullied and not stand up for you? That's not the spirit of our academy. Thank you. Fu Xiaodai looked at her touched. No need to thank me. If Director Mao was here, he definitely wouldn't let anyone suffer. Sima Yue said, All right, let's go and see how the others are doing. Yes. Fu Xiaodai nodded and went in to check on the two injured students. Headmaster Yuan will be very happy if he knows that you protected the students of the academy. Sima Yue said as she hugged Little Seven's shoulders. Little Seven smiled. She had seen through her. She promised old Yuan that she would protect the students of the academy. This time, she had fulfilled her promise. Let's go in. Sima Yue hugged Little Seven and went in. When she went upstairs, Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiaoxiao looked at her from the staircase. What's wrong, senior sister? You're a little strange. Han Miao Shuang said. Sima Yue usually didn't like to be in the limelight, but when she went out just now, it was obvious that she took the blame. Am I? Sima Yue smiled. Han Miao Shuang said confidently, What do you want to do? Nothing much. I'm just curious about the Alchemist Guild. I want to take a look. Sima Yue walked past them and went back to her room. Wu Lingyu didn't go out the whole time, but it didn't mean that he didn't know what was going on outside. He laid on the bed and supported his head with his right hand. His left hand beckoned her to walk over. Sima Yue sat down beside the bed. He sat up and hugged her from behind, asking, "Why do you want to go to the Alchemist Guild?" Sima Yue leaned on his chest and asked. "It's definitely not to do something good." Wu Lingyu rested his chin on her neck and held her hand with both hands. Sima Yue pulled her hand out and played with his slender fingers, saying, "When did I do something bad?" "You're always doing proper business." Wu Lingyu followed her words. "Then tell me, what proper business do you have to do?" Sima Yue smiled, saying, "I want to take out the Bodhi mushroom. Before those old men go back, I want to settle this matter." "Bodhi mushroom? What do you want that for?" "It's not me who wants it, it's Third Mo who wants it," Sima Yue said. She told him about how she met Third Mo when she just arrived. After Wu Lingyu heard this, he unhappily bit her shoulder, saying, "Why are you so concerned about other men's matters? You say it as if I don't care about your matters." Sima Yue reached out and knocked his head. "Do you need my help?" Wu Lingyu asked. "No need. You can just wait for me here. I'll be back tomorrow at the latest." "You're so sure?" "If I don't come out tomorrow, you can come and pick me up." She believed that Mao Sanquan wouldn't let her stay in there for too long. But since he was worried, it would be good to let him come. With the speed of the Alchemist Guild, they'll be here in half an hour. Sleep with me for a while. Wu Lingyu hugged Sima Yue and laid down. The two of them laid on the bed and chatted for a while. After half an hour, the people from the Alchemist Guild arrived. "Where's Sima Yue and that little girl?" Luo Ming brought people to the inn and shouted loudly in the hall. "Io, Commander Luo is here." The innkeeper saw Luo Ming and came from behind the counter, saying, "Is there anything I can do for you? Are Sima Yue and that little girl from the heavenly sect still here?" Luo Ming didn't even look at him as he scanned the entire inn with his eagle eyes. The innkeeper said, "I'll get someone to call them." "No need, we're here." Sima Yue and Little Seven came down from upstairs and looked at Luo Ming, saying, "You guys are really slow. We've been waiting for you guys for so long. Seems like the efficiency of the Alchemist Guild isn't high." Beating up the guild's guards. "This is unforgivable. Capture them." Luo Ming waved his hand and those guards went forward to capture the two of them. Fu Xiaodai and the rest wanted to come down but were stopped by Han Miao Shuang. "Don't worry, they'll be fine. Instructor Mao and the rest will be back soon." "What right do you have to capture us?" Sima Yue pretended to struggle. "Because this is Cloud Sea City." Luo Ming sneered, "Take them away." "Let go, we can walk on our own." Sima Yue broke free from them and stared at Luo Ming, saying, "You invited me in today, don't regret it tomorrow. A mere heavenly sect doesn't have the right to make me regret. Take them away." Chapter 991. Read 336. Luo Ming waved his hand and those people brought Sima Yue and Little Seven away. When the people outside saw that Sima Yue and Little Seven were taken away by the people from the Union, some felt sorry for them while some gloated over their misfortune. Like I said, offending the people of the Union here is simply courting death. Sigh, I heard that the heavenly sect was already at odds with the Academy. Originally, their position in the Pill Alliance was in jeopardy during this alchemy competition, and now they've been caught. Sigh, I'm afraid the Academy is doomed this time. That may not be the case. The people of the heavenly sect are not easy to deal with. This time, it was Mao Sanquan who came. Although he couldn't compare to Su Jin, it was said that when he got angry, he was also very irritable. He's also very protective of his students. Then there will be a good show to watch. Just wait and see. Sima Yue and Little Seven followed Luo Ming and the rest to the Alchemist Guild. They didn't go through the main entrance but went through a back door. Take them to the prison. I'll go report to Mississippi, Luo Ming instructed the guard. Be careful, don't let anyone else get close to you. Yes, Commander. Enjoy your life here. Luo Ming glanced at Sima Yue and Little Seven before the guards brought them away. They passed through 2 courtyards. Unlike the other courtyards, each courtyard had a large plot of land to grow some medicinal herbs. They walked around the courtyard and headed towards the prison. Little Seven held Sima Yue's hand and winked at her. When are we going to do it? Sima Yue looked around. The location was rather remote and there was no one around. With a thought, a faint fragrance floated around. Do you smell anything? A guard frowned and asked the person beside him. There seems to be some kind of fragrance, the man said. I didn't smell like this when I walked here before. Could there be something? That's not right. The man fell before he could finish his words. Before the others could figure out what was going on, they fainted as well. Yu, I'll go with you. Little Seven kicked the person beside her. You have to stay here and watch over them. Sima Yue said. Don't let anyone find out. Furthermore, you can't enter the enchantment barrier. All right then. I'll wait here. Little Seven agreed reluctantly. Sima Yue followed the route that the bees pointed out to her and avoided the patrolling guards. She successfully arrived at their so-called medicine garden. There was indeed a barrier. There was a slight fluctuation in the space. She called out Little Roar and fused with him before walking in. She looked at the herb garden and pursed her lips. The things here were really not that good. They were far worse than the ones in the Spirit Pagoda. There was nothing that she liked. There is. As as she was before. The soil was freshly plowed and the soil was still fresh. She followed Third Mo's instructions and dug a little. She saw a jade box. She picked up the jade box but did not open it. She was afraid that the fragrance would attract attention. With a thought, she kept the box in her spirit pagoda and passed it to Third Mo. When she got up, she saw that a stalk of herb was covered in soil. She moved over and brushed the soil off. Then she tidied up the leaves of the herb. That is the place where the Bodhi mushroom was planted. A warm voice sounded from behind. Sima Yue was shocked. She turned around and saw a man sitting on a wheelchair. He was smiling at her. Although he said he was looking, his eyes were not focused. He should be someone with eye problems. When did this person appear here? Why didn't she notice him? She wondered if he saw her digging for the Bodhi mushroom. She did not feel awkward or helpless after being caught in the act. She calmly sized up the person in front of her. His hands were casually placed on the armrests of the wheelchair. His beautiful face revealed a sickly fatigue. He looked at Sima Yue calmly. It was as if he saw her small movements. Who are you? When did you come? Sima Yue took 2 steps forward and looked at him cautiously. I have always been here. You just didn't notice. The man said, You can call me Xian Qiu. Xian Qiu? Sima Yue thought for a while. She had never heard of this name. She did not know who he was. Xian Qiu smiled and nodded. You have always been here? Sima Yue asked. Xian Qiu admitted. He did not say whether he saw her or not. What are you doing here? Smelling the herbs. Smelling the herbs? Sima Yue frowned. Did he smell the Bodhi mushroom and came here? Don't worry. I will not tell anyone about you. Xian Qiu pointed out what she was worried about. He really saw it. No, how did he know what she was thinking? She looked at him and thought about how to deal with this. Your matters have nothing to do with me. Xian Qiu explained. Why do you want to keep it a secret from me? Sima Yue did not understand. Because I have nothing to do with the Alchemist Guild. Xian Qiu said, I am a blind person and a cripple. I will not care about anything that I can. Not knowing why, Sima Yue heard a faint disappointment in his words. Then what are you doing here? Are you really here to smell the herbs? She did not believe him. For a person who does not know what color is, smell is an important way for us to perceive the world. Xian Qiu crossed his fingers. I cannot see what the world looks like, but I can smell them. Have you always been blind? Seeing his peaceful look, Sima Yue walked over. I heard from others that I could see when I was 1 or 2 years old. So, It's not that I couldn't see. It's just that I don't have any memories of that time. Xianqiu teased. A child of 1 or 2 years old did not have any memories. Even if he saw what the world looked like, how could he remember? So he did not know what color the sky was or what flowers looked like. You didn't see a doctor? I did, but no doctor could find the reason. Because I couldn't see, I got used to it. But you want to see the world, right? Sima Yue said, you want to know what the world looks like, what color the sky is and what color it is. You don't just rely on your divine sense to distinguish the things around you. Xianqiu's smile deepened. You know how people like me think. Have you experienced it before? Chapter 992. Sima Yue shook her head. She was not blind. She had experienced life and death and had seen the impermanence of the world. She thought more than others. Moreover, her soul was very sensitive and could easily sense other people's thoughts. Since you didn't, how did you know? Because you just said that you were smelling this place. A person who is curious about the taste of the world, and is also curious about this world. Sima Yue said, am I right? Ha! He chuckled and did not deny it. You said that you're not a member of the Alchemist Guild, and that you came here to find someone to treat your eyes? Sima Yue looked at the man. The aura he was emitting made her want to chat with him. Sort of. Xianqiu said. Have you found someone who can cure you? Xianqiu shook his head. I want to find their president, but he's not here. Xia Changtian isn't here, so of course you won't be able to find him. Sima Yue thought to herself. That's why you waited for him at the Union. Wait, isn't there a wizardry barrier here? How did you get in? Sima Yue asked in surprise. I was the one who set up this barrier. Of course I can come in. Xianqiu said, a few days ago, I heard that the guild's treasure was stolen. The vice president asked me to help set up this enchantment. I specifically chose a more stable barrier, but it seems that it won't be of any use to you. Sima Yue shrugged and did not answer him. However, what surprised her the most was that this barrier was actually set up by him. The Alchemist Guild actually invited an outsider to set up a barrier. This meant that this person must be very powerful. Unfortunately, he was blind and his legs were crippled. Are you looking for the Bodhi Ganoderma? Are you with the person from before? Xianqiu didn't ask her about her ability to pass through the enchantment and changed the topic. Why don't you say that I'm the same person as before? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. When I came to set up the barrier, I smelled the remnants of his scent. It smells different from yours. Your smell is very clean. Xianqiu said. Clean? Is there such a thing as clean? Sima Yue asked curiously. She had only heard of fragrant and smelly things, but she had never heard of clean or unclean things. Of course. Xianqiu smiled but did not say anything. Even if she said those things, it would be different. Then I'll take it as a compliment. Sima Yue said, I have something to do, so I won't talk to you. I hope we can meet again next time. Xianqiu said. Okay. Sima Yue turned around after taking 2 steps and said, will you keep this a secret for me? Xianqiu nodded. Thank you. By the way, if you're looking for the president, he should be back in a few days. Goodbye. Sima Yue knew that he could not see her, but she still waved at him and turned to leave. After she left, a figure slowly appeared behind Xianqiu. Young master, should we investigate this person? Xianqiu thought for a while, nodded and said lightly, it's rare to meet someone who smells so clean, it's okay to get to know him. Be careful not to let him know, some people don't like people asking about them. That person replied and disappeared again. Xianqiu pushed the chair and accurately avoided the herbs and left the herb garden. Sima Yue returned to her original spot. Little Seven was bored watching the ants moving. Seeing her return, she threw away the branch in her hand and said, You're finally back. Why were you gone for so long? Did something happen? I'll tell you later. Sima Yue took out the antidote and scattered it in the air. Then, she pulled Little Seven to the ground and pretended to faint. When the guards smelled the antidote, they slowly woke up. When they realized that they had fainted, They were so shocked that they jumped up. Wake up, wake up. The first guard who woke up shook the people beside him, and they woke up too. What happened? I don't know, everyone fainted. Is the prisoner still there? Yes, she's still lying there. Oh, quickly go and wake them up. Big brother, what happened to us? It's probably some master who made some poison. As long as the prisoner is still there, it's fine. Let's go, bring them to the dungeon. Sima Yue and Little Seven were woken up. They pretended that they did not know anything and followed those people to the dungeon. Go in. Those people pushed the two of them into the dungeon and locked them up. Then, they left without even looking at them. The dungeon of the Alchemist Guild was considered clean. There were no cockroaches or rats, and it was not dark or damp. Other than the bad environment, it was still acceptable. Sima Yue found a relatively clean place to sit down. Little Seven went over and sat beside her, asking, "What happened to you?" "I met someone," Sima Yue said. "Met someone?" Little Seven cried out in surprise. "You were discovered?" Sima Yue nodded and told her about Xian Qiu. "A blind and crippled person. Did he really see you take the Bodhi mushroom?" Little Seven was doubtful. Although he didn't see it, he should have felt it. Sima Yue said, "And some people can feel it even if they can't see it with their eyes." "That's true." Little Seven said, "Will he really keep it a secret for you?" "Probably." Sima Yue said, "He doesn't look like a nosy person. If he really wanted to report me, he would have called for help. Moreover, even if he said it, he wouldn't know what I look like or who I am. If he finds me through my smell, I have a way to change that. But others can't find me through my smell." "You thought it through." Little Seven said, "No wonder you're not worried at all." "All right, now that we've said it, let's wait here peacefully," Sima Yue said as she closed her eyes and began to meditate. "Yu, how long do we have to wait here?" Little Seven asked. "Tomorrow at the latest." Sima Yue said, "If Director Mao and the rest don't come tomorrow, Senior Brother will get me out." "Then we have to stay here for so long." Little Seven was a little bored. She couldn't enter the Spirit Pagoda here. She could only learn from Sima Yue and cultivate here. Sima Yue and the rest waited here for less than a day. There was movement outside, then the door of the dungeon was opened. The sound of wheels could be heard from outside. Sima Yue looked at the person in front of her and asked in surprise, "Xian Qiu, why are you here?" Was he planning to spread the news of her getting the Bodhi mushroom? The person beside Xian Qiu gave the jailer a look. The jailer immediately opened the door. He personally led Sima Yue out and smiled. "I didn't expect young Master Sima to be young Master Xian Qiu's friend. It's a pleasure to meet you. I didn't expect it to be a misunderstanding. Young Master Sima, please come out." Sima Yue looked at Xian Qiu. What was going on? Chapter 993. You are. Sima Yue and Little Seven arrived outside the prison. The middle-aged man came to welcome them personally. "I'm Zhan Xing, Zhan Lu Er's grandfather." Zhan Xing smiled and said, "My insensible granddaughter was blind and offended you. I apologize to you on her behalf. I hope you can forgive her for being insensible and don't hold it against her." Zhan Lu Er's grandfather? The person who could stop the Sky Heaven School from participating? Was it because he did not have the ability that Zhan Lu Er mentioned, or was it because Xian Qiu's status was too high and he did not dare to offend him? Her intuition told her that it was the latter. "If she doesn't find trouble with us, I can pretend that nothing happened," Sima Yue said. Yes. I will definitely teach that girl a lesson. Thank you for not fussing over it." Zhan Xing smiled apologetically. Sima Yue came to Xian Qiu's side. "Why are you here to pick us up?" "I just happened to know, so I came," Xian Qiu said. "Let's go, I have something to ask of you." "What's the matter?" Sima Yue was a little surprised, but she still nodded. "Let's talk outside." Outside the dungeon, Xian Qiu said to Zhan Xing, "Vice President Zhan, since the matter has been resolved, we won't delay your time." Zhan Xing was an old fox who had lived for many years. He naturally understood that Xian Qiu was chasing him away. He smiled and said, "It just so happens that there are some things that I haven't settled yet. Then I won't disturb you. Goodbye." With that, he cupped his hands towards Xianqiu and left. "I know you have doubts. Let's leave this place first and I'll tell you slowly," Xianqiu said and left in his wheelchair. Sima Yue and Little Seven followed him out of the Alchemist Guild and came to a small courtyard. "Where is this?" Seven asked. "My temporary lodging," Xianqiu replied. At this moment, the door opened from the inside. A servant came out and said, "Young master, you've returned." The servant came behind Xianqiu and grabbed the wheelchair. With a little effort, the wheelchair was lifted up the stairs. "Xianqiu, why did you bring us here?" Sima Yu asked. "I want you to do me a favor," Xianqiu said. Although Sima Yue was curious, she could only follow him into the house since he had no intention of telling her the details. "You don't have to be nervous, I won't let you do anything outrageous," Xianqiu said. "I just heard some things, so I want you to help me." "How can I help you?" Sima Yue asked. "You'll know when we get there." Xianqiu brought her to the backyard. Other than the flower beds, there were 2 small trees planted in flower pots. Silver trunks, emerald green needles, and tiny flowers blooming on them. "Do you see those 2 small trees?" Xianqiu asked. Sima Yue nodded. Thinking that he could not see, she replied, "I see." "Do you recognize what it is?" "It should be the extinct silver-rooted sago tree, right?" Sima Yue probed. "You're really knowledgeable," Xianqiu laughed. He was not surprised that Sima Yue could recognize the 2 small trees. The silver-rooted sago tree was used as a medicine by alchemists in ancient times. Its effects were not inferior to the golden snake fruit. But for some reason, it gradually became extinct. She did not expect Xianqiu to have 2. "These flowers are so beautiful. They must be delicious." Little Seven drooled as she looked at the flowers. Although the flowers of the silver-rooted sago tree can be used as medicine, its effects are not as great as the fruit. But ever since they were discovered, they only bloomed but did not bear fruit. Xianqiu said regretfully. "But is it because you planted them in such a small pot?" Hee. Xianqiu heard Little Seven's words and laughed softly. He shook his head and said, "Those 2 are space containers. The soil inside is definitely enough." What? Little Seven was even more confused. "Because their pollen did not spread," Sima Yue said. "What do you mean by not spreading?" Little Seven had never blossomed before, so she didn't know what it was for. Sima Yue explained briefly and she immediately understood. "So it is so troublesome for plants to bear fruit. But aren't there bees here?" Little Seven came to the side of the silver-rooted sago tree and stretched out her hand to catch a bee. Other than the one in her hand, there were a few more flying on the flowers. "Normal bees are useless," Xianqiu said. "We have already found many types of bees to try." Sima Yue understood why he was looking for her. "One of the reasons why I came to Cloud Sea City this time is to get the people from the Alchemist Guild to help us take a look." Song Changjie said that the silver-rooted sago tree used to rely on the scarlet bees to spread their pollen. Later on, the number of scarlet bees decreased and the silver-rooted sago tree gradually became extinct. As expected, when Sima Yue heard about the scarlet bees, she was almost certain of his reason for looking for her. But how did he know that she had scarlet bees? Then she thought about it. Since they met in the medicine garden, he would definitely send someone to check on her identity. It would not be difficult for him to know that she had used scarlet bees outside. At least, for someone like him, it was not difficult. Xianqiu looked at Sima Yue and said, "Are you willing to help me?" "As a condition to keep it a secret?" Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. Xianqiu shook his head, "As a friend's request." "Friend?" Sima Yue looked at him strangely. With his status, would it be so easy for him to be friends with others? "Why, do you despise me for being a handicapped person?" Xianqiu smiled and mocked himself. "No, I don't. I just feel that your status should be very high. Why would someone like you be friends with a nobody like me?" Sima Yue said. I said before, you smell very clean. Xianqiu said, just as you said, I have very few friends, but I like clean people. My hands are stained with blood. Don't you smell the blood? Sima Yue said. Xianqiu said, so, are you willing to help me? Sima Yue smiled and looked at the two silver-rooted sago trees. With a thought, dozens of scarlet bees flew out. Since he already knew that she had scarlet bees, there was no harm in helping him. Moreover, he had kept it a secret. Those scarlet bees flew to the silver-rooted sago trees and danced among the flowers. When the results are out, can you let me take a look? Okay. Although Xianqiu could not see, he scanned with his divine sense and knew that those scarlet bees were collecting honey. His smile deepened. It's a pity that I can't see, otherwise I would really want to see what they look like. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, that, I am a doctor too, are you willing to let me take a look? Although she did not know his identity, it was better to be on good terms with someone that even the Alchemist Guild did not dare to offend. His legs and eyes are fine, Sima Yue said. They're all good? Then why can't he walk or see? Little Seven exclaimed in surprise. That's because the nerves in his eyes and legs are being suppressed, Sima Yue said. There's something in your brain, or rather, there's something sealed in your brain. That thing caused you to become like this. Xianqiu's expression finally changed, but it was only for a moment. He quickly regained his usual indifference. He didn't think that Sima Yue would know about his seal. Other than him and the core members of his family, no one else knew about it. Is there a solution? He asked. Remove the seal. Naturally, there will be a solution. Sima Yue said, but your seal seems to be very powerful. It won't be easy to remove it. Moreover, since it's a seal, I'm afraid removing it won't be good for your body. Just like her, the seal had loosened. In the future, she would be worried that the seal would be completely removed and she would explode and die. Xianqiu was neither surprised nor disappointed by what she said. Is there no other way? Xian asked. Sima Yue sighed and said, with my current ability, there's no other way. You're already very powerful. Xianqiu smiled and said, other doctors saw my condition and none of them knew about the seal in my body. You're more powerful than them. But I can't help, Sima Yue said. You want to see the world so much, but I can't help you. No, you've already helped me. Xianqiu said, at least, I know the reason why I'm like this. Maybe one day I'll be able to remove the seal. Even if it's just one look at the world, it'll be good. Sima Yue saw him say such sad words so calmly and felt sorry for him. He definitely knew what his seal was, but he couldn't remove it. If my medical skills improve in the future, I'll help you take a look. Maybe there's another way. Sima Yue said, but I can't guarantee that it'll work. Thank you. Xianqiu said gratefully. Didn't you say that we're friends? Since we're friends, there's no need to be so polite. Sima Yue said, the people from the academy are looking for me and Little Seven. We'll take our leave first. I'll send you. On the way, Xianqiu and Sima Yue chatted occasionally. Although they didn't talk much, it made each other feel comfortable. After the two of them left, the smile on Xianqiu's face gradually disappeared. Young master. An old man walked out from the courtyard. You know everything, right? Xianqiu's face flashed with fatigue. Before the seal, your body was normal. After the seal, you became like this. We naturally thought that it's because of the seal. The old man said. Since you know the reason, why did you watch me look everywhere for a solution? Time and time again, I was disappointed. Xianqiu said dejectedly. You want to see the world so much. We also hope that there are other ways. Chapter 995. When Sima Yue returned to the inn, Han Miao Shuang and the others ran down from upstairs. Little junior brother, where did you go? When Instructor Mao and the others went to the union to ask for you, those people said that you had already left. Han Miao Shuang grabbed her hand and said, are you all okay? No. Sima Yue saw that Mao Sanquan and the others were also there. She said apologetically, Director Mao, I'm sorry for making you come here for nothing. It's good that you're fine. Mao Sanquan said. Yue, where did you go? Wei Jing recalled that when they went to ask for her, those people said that she and Little Seven had already left. He was very puzzled. I met a friend in the Alchemist Guild. Then he brought us out, Sima Yue said. Friends from the Union? Yes, Sima Yue said. He told me not to tell anyone about him and to keep it a secret. Since that's the case, then you should go rest. Mao Sanquan said, in a few days, it will be the pill competition. You should practice well. There might be some unrest outside in the next few days, so don't go out casually. Yes, Director Mao. Yue and the others knew why the students were so agitated. He was afraid that the scale of the turmoil would be relatively large, and it was best for young students like them not to get involved. However, things were often not something she could avoid just because she wanted to. When Sima Yue came to the room, Wu Lingyu was not there. After looking around, she went straight to do her own thing. At this time, Wu Lingyu had just returned from outside. When he arrived at the main hall, he paused for a moment and then went to the backyard. The plump shopkeeper came out of the house and bowed to Wu Lingyu. Wu Lingyu went straight to the house, casually set up a barrier, and then returned to his original appearance. Have you found anything? He had a smile on his face, but there was no warmth in his eyes. I found it. It's someone from the Xianqiu clan. The fat shopkeeper said. The people from the Xianqiu clan are here? Wu Lingyu was surprised. Who is it? Xianqiu He. The crippled young master of the Xianqiu clan? Wu Lingyu's gaze darkened. What is he doing here? They should be looking for Xia Chang Tian and Zhao Xiang Qi to heal their bodies. The fat shopkeeper said, we also received news that they brought 2 silver-rooted sago trees with them. They actually obtained that treasure? I don't know if Yu would like it, but if she does, I'll get it for her. 3 black lines appeared on the back of the fat shopkeeper's head, saying, I think young Master Yu already knows. How did she know? Today, Xianqiu he brought him to the place where he stayed. The fat shopkeeper said, I think he didn't look for young Master Yue to chat. You went to Xianqiu he's place? Wu Lingyu frowned. Where is she now? We've already returned to the inn. The fat shopkeeper said. Before he could finish his sentence, Wu Lingyu had already disappeared from his sight. He shook his head and sighed. Master is already gay, sigh. Sima Yue was reading when she suddenly felt a flash in front of her. She raised her head and saw Wu Lingyu standing in front of her. Why did you suddenly appear? You scared me. She glared at him and said. Wu Lingyu came to her side and sat down. He reached out and hugged her waist, saying, You went to see Xianqiu He? Who is Xianqiu He? Sima Yue asked. Didn't you go to Xianqiu He's courtyard? Wu Lingyu leaned on her shoulder and said gloomily. You mean Xianqiu? Sima Yue knew who he was talking about, so Xianqiu is his surname. Why did that blind man bail you out? You could have let me pick you up. Wu Lingyu said unhappily. You know Xianqiu? Sima Yue asked. Don't call him so intimately. He's called Xianqiu He. Wu Lingyu corrected. All right. Xianqiu He, you know him? Sima Yue followed his words. We've never spoken before. It meant that they knew each other's identities. You haven't answered me yet. Why are you with him? Sima Yue told him about meeting Xianqiu He in the herb garden. She also told him everything that happened after that to prevent someone from being jealous. Did he really just ask you for your scarlet bees? Of course. Sima Yue reached out and pinched his cheek. What else do you want? He doesn't even know that I'm a girl. Even though that guy is disabled, he has harmed many girls. I'm just reminding you not to be fooled by him. Wu Lingyu said. Am I that shallow? Sima Yue increased the strength of her hand. She was also unhappy. If you were a shallow person, I wouldn't need to remind you. I'm many times more outstanding than him. Narcissist. This is called confidence. But with you, this confidence is useless. I think you're just thick-skinned. Sima Yue pinched his face with both hands. Then what's Xianqiu He's identity? Xianqiu clan's young master. Xianqiu clan, is it a clan from the middle or inner regions? Sima Yue heard of this surname for the first time. She thought that Xianqiu He's surname was Xian and his name was Qiu. Neither. Wu Lingyu said. Then what is it? They're a hidden clan. Hidden clan? Sima Yue frowned. She didn't expect Xianqiu clan to be so powerful. Yeah, they usually don't come out. These few years, because of Xianqiu He, they've come out more often. Wu Lingyu said, their powers are usually high and mighty. Just looking at them makes people dislike them. So you should stay away from them. Sima Yue stared at Wu Lingyu and said, why do I smell something sour? No way. Wu Lingyu refused to admit it. That immortal-like man made him very unhappy. Xianqiu He is a good person. You'll know after you get to know him. Sima Yue said, you won't interfere with me making friends, right? Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yue looking at him seriously. The words in his throat spun a few times. Finally, he compromised. Why would I care about you? I've never cared about you. A certain someone wailed in his heart. It's not like that. It's not like that. But he knew that she didn't like it. So he could only feel uncomfortable in his heart. All right, then it's fine. You go do your own things. I want to continue reading. I just happened to run into some problems. Sima Yue said with a smile. That's good. I'll go out for a while. I'll be back in a while. Wu Lingyu patted her head and opened the door to leave. Sima Yue waved at him, protesting that he was patting her like a puppy. But that guy had already left. Wu Lingyu left the room. His figure flashed and he appeared in the air. He locked onto a certain spot and said, come out. The person hiding in the space didn't want to come out. But after being locked onto by him, he couldn't escape even if he wanted to. He had no choice but to show himself. Wu Lingyu looked at the two people. His eyes darkened and said, people from Xianqiu clan? Chapter 996. Read 336. The two of them looked at Wu Lingyu without saying anything. They were trying to guess his identity. He was actually able to discover them in such a situation and even lock onto their position. Why are you following her? Wu Lingyu asked. If you don't tell me then, his gaze was cold and the other party could clearly feel the dense killing intent. We're here to protect her, one of them said, indicating that they were not hostile. They saw how he interacted with her just now, and it seemed like their relationship was not ordinary. If they did anything to him, Sima Yue would definitely find them. Who asked you to protect her? Xianqiu He? No, young master doesn't know that we're here. We are here on the orders of the Great Elder. Hearing that it was not someone sent by Xianqiu He, Wu Lingyu heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. It seemed like that guy hadn't realized that Yue was a girl. Go back and tell Xianqiu that he doesn't need you to protect him in secret. Wu Lingyu said, if you really want to, then protect him openly. If I see you again, don't blame me for taking action. The two of them glanced at each other, then directly disappeared into the air, returning to report to Xianqiu. After Wu Lingyu finished dealing with the situation here, he returned to the inn. In the small courtyard where the Xianqiu clan was staying, Xianqiu was listening to the report of the two guards. To be able to lock onto your position so accurately, that person must be very powerful. Xianqiu pondered. He doesn't want you to follow him? He said that if you want to protect her, you have to do it openly. You're not allowed to follow her in secret. A guard said. You want to borrow the power of my Xianqiu clan? In your dreams. Xianqiu said angrily, he's just a small alchemist. Does he really think that he's that important? Then what should we do? Since they don't allow us to follow them, then let's call them back. Xianqiu said, since she has experts following her, then we don't have to worry. By the way, has the person who went to investigate her returned? Not yet. So far, the only information we have is that she's behind the city. Send the information to young master as soon as you find it. Also, get someone to make a copy for me. Yes, Grand Elder. In the following days, Sima Yue would go to the spirit pagoda to refine pills whenever she was free. She managed to refine quite a number of grade 7 pills. More than 10 days were equivalent to more than a year's time. She had spent more than half of her time here. This was the longest time she had spent researching pills in the past few years. After refining all the 7th grade pills in her hands, she felt that she had faintly touched the threshold of an 8th grade alchemist. In this 1 year, Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiaoxiao were also inside, practicing on their own and discussing from time to time. Wu Lingyu had also been accompanying Sima Yue. With the other half of Emosha's soul, he could give her more professional guidance. This was also the reason why she was able to reach the threshold of the 8th rank so quickly. On this day, Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu were refining pills in the alchemy room. One was refining pills while the other was observing. Puchi, the sound coming from the pill furnace and the smell of burning in the air indicated that the pill refining had failed. Another failure. This was already the 3rd time she had failed today. Is it that hard to refine an 8th grade pill? She sighed. Or is there something I didn't notice? Your skills are already very good. You can definitely try to break through to the 8th rank. Wu Lingyu said, you keep failing now. It should be related to the pressure on your mind. You've already been practicing here for half a year. Refining pills for a long time has made your mind tense. Why don't you go out and relax? Sima Yue thought about it and agreed. Practicing all the time might not be good. How long until the pill competition? 3 more days. So fast? Yes. There are many people here now. It's more lively than before. Wu Lingyu said, you can go out and take a look. Where are you going? Sima Yue looked at him and asked. The people from the Sage Pavilion are here. Wu Lingyu said, that old man is coming this time too. I'm afraid that the substitute won't be able to hide from him. His original plan was to let the substitute take his place to watch, but he didn't expect that old man to come too. Although the substitute looked like him, a fake was still a fake. It could fool others, but if he wanted to fool that old man, he was still lacking. He's coming too? He won't do anything to you, right? Sima Yue was a little worried. That guy was eyeing his body covetously. Of course he can't do anything now. Don't worry. Wu Lingyu came to her side and hugged her. He kissed her on the lips. Then I won't be able to see you for a few days? Sima Yue hugged his neck with both hands. When will you settle the matter with the Sage Pavilion? When I don't need this identity anymore. Wu Lingyu said, I still need this identity to roam the continent. The disciple of the Divine Devil Valley's Valley Lord can also be your identity. Sima Yue pouted. There are some things that if done with that identity, it will bring trouble to the Divine Devil Valley. Wu Lingyu explained, that old man isn't here. I can't bring a lot of trouble back for him. Speaking of Master, is there still no news of him? Sima Yue thought of Old Man Devil. He left after knowing about Feng Ruyen. She hadn't seen him for so many years. He said that he was her master, but he was comfortable being a hands-off shopkeeper. It wasn't just him. Su Jin, Feng Zhixing, and every other master felt that her self-learning ability was excellent. They left after leaving some books, and no one taught her properly. If not for the Spirit Pagoda, she didn't know what she would be like now. Although I don't know where he is, his life jade is with me. It's fine, which means that he's fine. You don't have to worry too much about him. He hasn't been reliable for so many years. Wu Lingyu said. That's good. Sima Yue said, this master's life jade is with you. The other master's life jade is? Sigh, I don't know how Master Su, Teacher Gu and Principal Yuan are doing. You're so busy. Why are you worrying so much? Wu Lingyu said, if something happened to them, there would be people from the academy to settle it. But, Master's life jade isn't with me. Sima Yue said, when eldest senior brother left, he took Master's life jade with him. The Jiang family will be participating too. I think Kong Junshul will be there too. Who knows, your eldest senior brother might be there too. Really? I'm not sure. Wu Lingyu said, let's go out and walk around. You'll meet a lot of people. Who knows, there might be something fun. Let's relax and compete properly. All right. Sima Yue wasn't interested in going out for a walk, but she really needed to relax. So she brought little Seven out for a walk. Chapter 997. Title: Chapter Goodbye. Eldest senior brother author. Ocean of Clouds City was much more bustling when the competition approached. Many people were strolling about on the streets. Some were buying things while others were watching the show. Sima Yue and Little Seven walked around casually. They didn't have a specific destination and would go wherever there was a crowd. Yu, there are a lot of fake herbs here. Little Seven came out from a stall and told Sima Yue. How do you know it's fake? I knew it the moment I smelled it. Anyway, we are not going to buy it. Let's go somewhere else. Sima Yue held her hand and said, Shouldn't we remind them? No need, they can tell by themselves. Seven nodded. Thinking about it, it made sense. The people who bought the herbs were all alchemists. If they couldn't even distinguish this, then it could only mean that these people were stupid to the point of their grandmother's home. They walked around the street and found nothing interesting, so they decided to go to a tea house to listen to the latest news. They arrived at the largest tea house in the city, and their luck was rather good. They just happened to encounter the last remaining private room. This is the best private room we have here. It was originally empty, but the last batch of guests seemed to have something urgent and left after a while. Hey, they just left when you came in. The waiter who led the way was very enthusiastic and talked to them as he walked. Sima Yue looked around the tea house as she listened to the waiter. The whole tea house was decorated very elegantly. There was a rockery and a pond in the hall. There were landscape paintings on the walls. The doors of each private room were also inscribed with China-style ink paintings or brush strokes. This is the private room. The waiter brought them to a private room on the 3rd floor. He opened the door and went in. This is facing the street. It's the most comfortable place to drink tea. Not bad indeed. Little Seven was quite fond of the interior design. She went to the window and opened it to look outside. Look, you can see the Alchemist Guild from here. Yes, if you look out from here, you'll be able to see the Alchemist Guild. The waiter said, You guys wait here, I'll bring you some tea. With that he left. Sima Yue walked to the window and looked at the Alchemist Guild from afar. Yu, your eldest senior brother. Little Seven suddenly shouted. Senior brother wouldn't come here. It should be the young master of the Jiang family. Sima Yue knew that the Jiang family would come, so she didn't care. No, it's really your eldest senior brother. Little Seven pointed at the person below. Sima Yue looked in the direction that Little Seven was pointing at. With just a glance, she was certain that the person below was Jiang Junxian. Jiang Junxian raised his head and saw Sima Yue. His eyes flashed and he disappeared around the corner. Sima Yue flew down and turned the corner. Jiang Junxian had already disappeared. She ran to the street where he disappeared. This was a crossroad. When she got there, Jiang Junxian had already disappeared. Eldest senior brother. She looked around but didn't see anyone. She just wanted to ask how her master was doing. When she returned to the private room, Xiao Qi knew what had happened. You don't be sad. Since he's here, you'll see him sooner or later. Little Seven comforted. Sima Yue sat down at the tea table. The waiter had already served the tea. Why is your eldest senior brother here? Little Seven sat opposite her and asked. It should be for Kang Junshul. Sima Yue said, Senior brother said that the Jiang family would come. Kang Junshul will definitely come. Then will he take revenge here? Little Seven asked. I don't know. Sima Yue said, Right now, I just want to ask him about Master's life jade. I don't want to ask about anything else. Then the Jiang family does owe him. It's reasonable that he wants to take revenge. But I have a feeling that he's not here just for revenge. Sima Yue said, the inner regions were involved in the Cloud Sea City incident. Could it be that eldest senior brother is here because of this? Or is he purely here for revenge? There's no point in thinking so much. Little Seven said, but when will Xia Changtian and the rest get rid of the traitor? Although President Xia is still in the Little Realm, his guards have already gone out to contact their people. According to their plan, they should clean up the sect before the pill competition. Sima Yue drank her tea and said lightly, "There's still 2 more days." Little Seven said, "But they haven't done anything. You've been staying in the spirit pagoda with me all day. You don't know what's going on outside. You won't know if there's any movement." Sima Yue said, "We don't know, but that doesn't mean they haven't done anything." "That's true. When the time comes, there'll definitely be a good show to watch." Little Seven was eager and excited. In recent years, the central and outer regions have been unstable. Most of it is because of the interference from the inner regions. They're trying to extend their evil claws to the outer regions. What exactly happened in the inner regions that caused them to break the current balance? Sima Yue knocked on the table with one hand and propped up her chin with the other as she asked suspiciously, "There must be something that we don't know." Little Seven said, "When there's a chance in the future, we'll go there and take a look. But we can't do it now. You're not strong enough. You'll be at a disadvantage if you go." Sima Yue was speechless. She was being looked down on again. Speaking of which, she had been too busy recently. She hadn't had a breakthrough in her cultivation for a long time. She rubbed her forehead. Now she finally understood why those professional masters had lower cultivation than others. It was simply a waste of time. "When my strength increases, I'll definitely go," she said confidently. There were many reasons why she had to go there. They rested in the tea house for a while before preparing to leave. Just as they stepped out of the private room, they heard a commotion below. "There's someone arguing below." Little Seven said, "There's someone we know. We'll know what's going on when we go down and take a look." Sima Yue said. They went downstairs and saw Jean-Lu arguing with 2 people. After hearing a few words, they knew that it was that Missy's superior mentality causing trouble again. She insisted on snatching the empty private room from them. Little Seven walked down and saw Jean-Lu standing in the main hall. The group of guards behind her was especially eye-catching. "Jean-Lu, you like to wander around and find trouble with others when you have nothing to do. Do you want to show off your superiority?" Little Seven mocked. "Who's there?" Jean-Lu raised her head and saw Little Seven and Sima Yue coming down the stairs. Her originally arrogant face instantly darkened. It's these 2 people again. She didn't think that these 2 people would be related to that big shot. Not only did she not teach them a lesson the last time, she was even taught a lesson by her grandfather. Now that she saw them, she was filled with anger. Gentlemen's alliance. Chapter 998. Jean-Lu wanted to teach them a lesson, but thinking of her grandfather's warning, she suppressed the anger in her heart. Grandpa said that these people were just clowns, and it didn't matter how he dealt with them. But since they were related to that person, he couldn't touch them. Thinking of those heaven-shaking faces, her heart rippled, and she found them a little more pleasing to the eye. Since they were that person's friends, she didn't want to argue with them about the previous conflict. Sima Yue looked at her changing expression and did not know what she was thinking. Otherwise, she would vomit blood in her heart. "Why are you guys here?" Jean-Lu forced a smile at them, but the other party did not buy it. Little Seven looked at her and couldn't help but shiver. She rubbed her arms and said, "What are you trying to do? Don't look at me like that." Jean-Lu endured and endured. In her heart, she told herself not to be angry. Thinking of Xian Qiuhe's face, she finally endured it. "Ugly woman, are you bullying others here again?" Little Seven asked. "We're just here to drink tea." "Who asked them to be so blind to actually want to snatch the private room from us?" Jean-Lu said. "We were clearly here first." A woman wearing a light yellow dress said. "But I booked it first." Jean-Lu said. "You clearly sent someone to tell the waiter that you've already cancelled it." The other party said, "Since it's already cancelled, then it doesn't count." "I don't want to cancel it now." Jean-Lu gave him a bite-me look. "Do you think your grandpa will still help you if he finds out?" Sima Yue walked down the stairs and asked. She observed these people from the stairs and could see that they were very powerful. However, they had been suppressing it and did not intend to reveal their identities. Originally, she would not care about such things. However, the person who provoked them was Jean-Lu, so it was fine for her to say something. Jean-Lu looked at Sima Yue, then at the rest of the people. She was really unsure of the answer to her question. Seeing little Seven wave her fist, she gritted her teeth and waved to the people behind her, saying, "Let's go." The guards of the Alchemist Guild stood there in astonishment. She actually left just like that? Some of the guards had been with her the last time, so they knew how powerful little Seven was. They also knew why Jean-Lu would compromise. Go! Jean-Lu glared at them fiercely. She could not do anything to these people, but could she not command her own people? In the end, those people left with their tails between their legs. Those people didn't expect that the group of people who were so arrogant just now would actually leave because of these two people. Thank you for your help. One of the men cupped his hands and thanked Sima Yue. I'm just passing by. Although hiding one's identity is sometimes necessary, but for someone like Jean-Lu, the most direct way is to use one's identity to suppress her, Sima Yue said to that person. You know about us? I don't know. Sima Yue glanced at them and said to Little Seven, Little Seven, let's go back. After saying that, she and Little Seven left the tea house, leaving the two of them with their backs. She left just like that? The lady in yellow said in disbelief, they all know that our identities are not ordinary, but they didn't take the opportunity to strike up a conversation? This means that they don't care about our identities at all. The Gu family should be here soon. Let's go up and wait for them. Manager, if someone comes looking for the Sima family later, tell them to tell them where our private room is. The lady in yellow instructed the manager. Alright, everyone follow me. The manager said and personally led them to the private room upstairs. Sima Yue didn't expect that these people would be from the Sima family, so she left without looking back and continued to shop with Little Seven. Little Seven also didn't have the chance to shop properly in Cloud Sea City, so Sima Yue accompanied her for the entire day. In the evening, they arrived at a spirit stone shop. This is the biggest spirit stone shop they were talking about, the Stone Pavilion, right? Sima Yue looked at the two words Stone Pavilion on the door of the shop. It was the same as the branch shop she saw the last time. She looked at the sea of people inside and said, there are indeed many people. Let's go, it's more fun with more people. Little Seven said. She heard from Fatty and the others that Sima Yue cheated people in the Spirit Stone shop the last time, so she always felt that the Spirit Stone shop was a fun place. Since she was here, she definitely had to take a good look. Sima Yue went in with her. It was very lively inside. Many people were chatting, and the most lively place was at the stone opening area. If a spirit stone was opened, it would definitely attract everyone's attention. Little Seven ran over to see those people choosing L stone, then followed them to the stone opening area. Sima Yue saw her excited look and helplessly followed behind her, while looking at a few stone openings. She had to admit that the stone opening rate here was quite high. She looked at it for half an hour, and the probability of a spirit stone opening was almost 1 in 3, which was considered quite high in the stone gambling industry. Young lady, I saw that you've been walking around here for a while. Do you want to buy one yourself to try? A shop assistant saw Little Seven squatting down and learning from the person beside her, so he persuaded her. Little Seven pointed at herself. Yes, I saw that you were walking around here. You should be very interested in this, right? Since that's the case, why not buy one and try it? The shop assistant continued. The probability of a spirit stone opening is quite high. If it's a spirit stone, then you'll make a fortune. What if I don't get one? Open a few more, you'll definitely get a spirit stone. The shop assistant smiled and said, anyway, you won't lose out in stone gambling here. Little Seven was a little tempted, but she didn't have any money on her, so she could only look at Sima Yue. Sima Yue couldn't resist her gaze at all. If you want to play, then choose. Thank you. Little Seven hugged Sima Yue excitedly, then went to choose L stone. Sima Yue looked at the stones she chose, and couldn't help but shake her head. But she saw that little Seven was so excited, and the stones she chose weren't expensive, so she didn't say anything and let her play by herself. The shop assistant saw that little Seven was so forthright, and was overjoyed, so he guided little Seven to choose 10 stones. "Young lady, do you want to open the stone here?" The shop assistant smiled and asked. Of course I want to open it." Little Seven said, "Since I'm already here, of course I want to open it." "All right, then follow me." The surrounding people had already noticed little Seven, and saw that she chose 10 L stones in less than half an hour, so they all wanted to see the results. Chapter 999. Little Seven asked the waiter to carry the L stone to the area with the least number of people. There were only 3 to 5 people waiting there. "Little girl, let's wait here." Little Seven looked at the other places. There were a few people waiting there. She nodded. This little girl bought so much? The person in front of her saw the pile of 10 L stones beside little Seven and said with some surprise. Usually, everyone would choose 2 or 3 at a time. Choosing 5 or 6 would be considered a lot. He didn't expect her to choose 10. "Yeah, it's my first time playing this, so I bought a few more." Little Seven was in a good mood and actually started chatting with others. "Little girl, your courage is commendable. Since this is your first time playing this game, I'll let you start first." A big man laughed. "I'll let you go first too. Since they've given in, I'll give in to you too." Now, the people in front of her all said that she should go first. She went from the last to the first. The person who was cutting the stone turned back to look at them, then turned back to continue watching the master cutting the stone. Little Seven went over curiously, wanting to see what kind of spirit stones it could cut out. The stone cutter used a tool knife to peel off the outermost layer of the stone. The stone that was as big as a child's head was peeled off until it was as big as a fist, but there was still no movement. The buyer became more and more nervous, and his forehead was covered in sweat. "It's already so small, yet there's still no movement. I'm afraid it's a white stone." Someone whispered. The master was very calm. He peeled the stone layer by layer until the stone became the size of a walnut. Then he asked, "Do you still want to cut it?" The master put away the knife, took out a piece of sandpaper, and carefully polished it. When the stone became the size of a peanut, the man stood up in disappointment. He stood to the side, wanting to see Little Seven's results. "It's my turn, it's my turn." Little Seven hugged a stone and placed it on the stone table. She looked expectantly at the master who was opening the stone. The master took Little Seven's stone and looked at it. "How do you cut it? How do we cut it?" Little Seven scratched her head and said, "I don't know about this either. Just cut it however you want." The master looked up at Little Seven and lowered his head, preparing to cut. "Just cut it off." Sima Yue said. Seven looked at Sima Yue and said, "All right, let's cut it off." The master took out a tool knife and followed Sima Yue's instructions and cut it down the middle. The knife cut through the stone, revealing the white Hua stone. "White stone," Master said lightly. "Continue," Little Seven said. The master took half of it and cut it in half again. It was still white stone. The master cut it in half again twice, but it was still the same. "Cut this one, cut it like this." Seven carried the other one and placed it on the stone table. She casually gestured. The master took the L stone and cut it according to Little Seven's instructions. It was still white stone. "Again," Seven said unwillingly. One by one, the L stones were cut open. They were all white stones. The surrounding people sighed. His luck was truly unparalleled. The 10 L stones were all cut open. Other than the last one that had a little bit of green, the rest were all white stones. You. Little Seven pouted and looked at Sima Yue. "You chose it yourself." Sima Yue shrugged. Little Seven walked over and pulled her hand. You, go and choose." "Let's take a look." Sima Yue was not in a rush. She brought her to other places. The fact that little Seven bought 10 white stones had already attracted the attention of the other shop assistants. Every time she went somewhere, they would introduce it to her eagerly, wanting her to buy more. Little Seven looked at the L stones and was moved. Especially when she saw the spirit stones that others had cut out, she was even more excited. She jumped around even more than others. Sima Yue looked at her and shook her head helplessly. She gave her some money and told her to go and play by herself. Little Seven took the crystal card and jumped around. After a while, she came back with 10 L stones. Sima Yue looked at the stones she chose and was speechless. Including the previous 10, there were a total of 10. She actually didn't choose a good one. Haha, I'll go and cut the stones. Little Seven asked the shop assistant to move the L stones to the place where the stones were cut open. Sima Yue didn't want to look, so she went to the ore area and observed the ores. It's you. A clear voice came from behind. Sima Yue felt that it was familiar. She turned around and saw the people she met at the tea house. It's you guys. She nodded at them. Are you here to choose spirit stones too? Where's your little sister? Sima Yue pointed at the area where the stones were cut open. Little Seven was there anxiously watching the master cut open the stones. You let her go and cut open the stones alone? Oh right, I'm Sima Chi. This is Sima Xen Shu, Sima Yifei and Sima Yin. The lady in the yellow dress introduced to Sima Yue. When Sima Yue heard their names, her eyes flashed with surprise. But in that instant she suppressed it. She knew that their status wasn't low, but she didn't expect them to be from the Sima family. I'm Siyu, that's little Seven. Sima Yue said. How's your selection going? Sima Yun looked like an indifferent lady. When she smiled, it made people feel comfortable. She's playing over there. I haven't chosen yet. Sima Yue said, are you here to choose spirit stones too? We're just looking around. Sima Chi said, it's our first time in Cloud Sea City, so we're just walking around. Since little Seven is cutting open stones over there, let's go and take a look. Little Seven was extremely depressed. She had already cut open 6 L stones, but she didn't get a single spirit stone. She looked at Sima Yue and saw her looking over. It's not out again. Sima Yue walked over and said, isn't it not over yet? Let's wait until it's all out. Little Seven took another L stone and placed it on the stone table. This time, there was no surprise, it was still a white stone. Don't be discouraged. Sima Yue comforted. What kind of luck do I have? So many stones, but I didn't even get a single spirit stone. Little Seven said dejectedly. Don't worry, you won't go back empty-handed. Sima Yue patted her head. When little Seven heard what she said, her eyes shone and said excitedly, are you saying that I have spirit stones here? What do you think? I'm motivated again. Little Seven ran back excitedly and stared at the master who was cutting open the stones for her. Sima Yifei and the other 3 walked over. When they saw the white stones beside little Seven, they said in surprise, she bought all these? Sima Yue nodded. So many? How many spirit stones did she get? Sima Chi asked. Sima Yue looked at the white stones on the ground. Her eyes said it all. Chapter 1000. Book title, Zhang Xiaoqi's Luck, 2. Author. After that, he opened another one. This time, his luck was better and he opened a spirit stone. However, its quality was ordinary and its value was not high. Look, is this valuable? Little Seven showed the spirit stone to Sima Yue. It's alright. Let's see what happens later. Little Seven went back and asked the master to continue opening the stone. The other 2 Sima Yue stood at the side and watched quietly. It was only until the last one that she walked to the front and said to the master, cut it here and polish it on both sides. According to Sima Yue's request, the master cut the rock into 2 parts, one big and one small. Then he picked up the small part and started to polish it. Little Seven looked at the master nervously. Yue didn't ask for anything in the past. Now that she had made a request, there must be a chance. Are you a seeker spirit master? Sima Yun asked. Does a dabbler count? Sima Yu asked. A half-baked seeker spirit master is already very powerful. Sima Chi said, you have to know that seeker spirit masters like Third Master Mo are very rare. Even people from the inner regions knew about Third Mo. It seemed like he was quite famous. Soon, the stone-cutting master opened the first spirit stone. The dark green color immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding people. Heavens, it's a dark green spirit stone. You can actually find dark green spirit stones here. This one is worth the price of these 10. It's not just these 10. Even if you add up the previous 10, it still can't compare to this price. That's right. What a turn of events. Hearing their words, little Seven smiled happily. She knew it. How could she be so unlucky? She couldn't even get a single spirit stone out of the 20 stones. This was what it meant when one didn't call it out, but once it was called out, it was astonishing. There was also a smile in the master's eyes. To them, opening a spirit stone was a happy thing. Little girl, keep this well. He handed the spirit stone to little Seven and said to the person behind him, next. Wait a minute. Sima Yue stopped him. Master, please open the other half. There are no spirit stones in this small stone, but if you want, I can open it for you. This stone-cutting master had a gentle temperament, unlike other stone-cutting masters who would get angry because the customer's request was contrary to their own ideas. He picked up the other half of the stone and carefully polished it. Soon, the stone was reduced to the size of an egg. There's only so much left. Will there be spirit stones inside? Little Seven asked. Just wait and see. Sima Yue smiled. Sima Yifei and the others watched quietly from the side. They were considered to be experienced and knowledgeable. It wasn't like N or that yielded 2 spirit stones had never happened before. They were more interested in the confident smile on her face. That smile was faint, but it made people believe her from the bottom of their hearts. It made people feel that there really were spirit stones inside the stone. Layer after layer of stone skin was slowly removed. Just as everyone was about to lose their confidence, the stone skin was no longer white. There is color. It doesn't look green. It's a little red. We'll know when the last layer of stone is removed. When the stone-cutting master saw the faint red color, he was first surprised, then he became excited. No matter how big the spirit stone was, as long as it was of other colors, the value would be multiplied several times. His hand movements became gentler, as if he was protecting his own child. Very quickly, this spirit stone appeared in everyone's sight. It was an intoxicating red color, the size of a walnut, and shaped like a little heart. It made people like it immediately. So beautiful! Little Seven's cheers woke up the surrounding spectators. Little girl, I'll give you 50,000 crystals for this spirit stone. Sell it to me. Little girl, I'll give you 60,000, 70,000. The price quickly went over 100,000, but little Seven had no intention to sell it. She took the spirit stone and played with it in her hands. Little girl, if you're willing, our stone pavilion is willing to buy it. No. Little Seven shook her head and said, such a beautiful spirit stone, I want to keep it for myself. The people who were bidding at the side were disappointed. Some wanted to persuade her again. Little girl, you can consider the price I'm offering. This price is already much higher than its value. Not selling, not selling. Little Seven waved her hand impatiently and took the spirit stone to Sima Yue and said, Look, it's so beautiful. It's indeed beautiful. Sima Yue saw that she liked it so much and smiled. You can wait for Fatty and the rest to come out and ask him to make a necklace for you to wear around your neck. But Fatty and the rest still have many years before they come back from the little realm. Little Seven couldn't wait to get the necklace. Then after the things here are over, we'll go back to the sect to find an armament master to make one. Then when can we go back? I don't know how long the competition will take. This thing is already with you. Just wait for a few more days. Sima Yue said uncertainly. Miss Little Seven, if you can't wait, I can try. Sima Yifei said. You know how to refine armaments? Little 7 asked. If the grade you want isn't too high, I can try. Sima Fei said. It's not high, it's not high. I don't need those defensive functions. I just want it to look good and match with this spirit stone. Little 7 said excitedly. Then I'll tell you when I'm done. When will you be done? Tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, you can go to the place where we're staying to get it. Okay, I'll definitely go tomorrow afternoon. After some back and forth, the matter was settled. Sima Yue couldn't stop it in time. Feng Zhixing didn't tell her too many things, so she wasn't sure if she had any contact with the Sima family. She also didn't know if too much contact would bring her trouble. She wanted to keep a distance from them, but seeing Little 7's excited look, she swallowed the words of rejection. Do you want to continue playing? Not playing. Little 7 shook her head. With the spirit stone in her hand, she wasn't interested in anything else. Then let's go back. See you, we want to choose a few ores. Can you help us to check? Sima Yun said. I've only learned a little bit. It's not enough to help others choose ores. It's good if they can open spirit stones. If they can't, then it's not good. Sima Yue declined. That's better than us who don't know anything. Sima Yun laughed. If you let us choose, then we'll be blindly choosing. If we can't open spirit stones, then we'll be responsible for it. Little 7 didn't know the identity of these people. She pulled Sima Yue's hand and said, You help them. They want to help me refine a necklace. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.